There are 3 waiting.
Did I not hit go?
I don't know if you hit go live.
I hit.
You did, and it's trying.
Yeah, should be.
Okay, well, I guess it's just dumb.
We should be working. I don't know. Peyton, you look good over there, man.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it.
That is a good looking man right there, everybody.
I just want to make sure that we're recording. This is what it is.
I can't say much the same for Hunter.
What? What are you talking about?
I mean, if I was going to take you
Don't worry
wherever
about
to dinner, I'd take Peyton, is what I was saying.
Well, how rude. Okay, it does show that we're on.
I'm actually going to take you both to dinner here in a little bit.
Damn right you are.
You're both too easy, apparently.
Yeah, that's
Cheap
right.
days.
Like that.
Cheap
dates.
We're going to Burger King, right?
Right.
The new one right up here that you can hardly ever get into.
Yeah, that's just insane. Cherryville, man, they got them a Burger King, man.
Got him a Burger King.
So they were supposed to have a cookout coming to Cherryville, but the land that they bought, apparently they just put up a new sign that says for sale again. So
Never mind.
I don't know if that one's going through. That would be whether it's a cookout or a Pelicans or something. Cherryville needs somewhere you can get ice cream / slushies or whatever. Besides the fast food restaurants, they got their McDonald's. You got to take a chance and I guess call ahead and ask them if their slushie.
You got to flip a coin. It says, is it going to be working today or is it not going to be working today? I mean, and here I am now waiting in line. That's all I wanted. They tell me it's not here, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll just take a small fry or something.
And you guys think that might be a new thing, but way back in 1989, my family took a trip to the beach, and it was about 4 hours from here, 4.5, depending on how you get. Back then, there was, it wasn't that many bigger roads. So it probably was about a 4.5 hour ride. And we drove all the way back from Myrtle to here on our way back. And we stopped at every McDonald's that we passed. 7, 8, 9 of them. The first one that we got to that had a milkshake machine that was working was in Cherryville.
Jeez. Yeah, what the heck?
We drove 4.5 hours and he stopped at 10 McDonald's. And only one of them had the milkshake, and it was the one in Cherryville.
Not worth it. It's not worth it.
Oh, no, that was the best milkshake you'd ever drank.
I bet it was because you finally got there.
At that point. But just, they've been doing this a while. They've got it down.
It's to a science.
Went to the King the other day for the first, my first adventure here, the one in Cherryville. It's not like it's different anywhere else. And I wanted a slushie. I was like, cheeseburger and a slushie. We're out of slushies. I'm like,
it's ice. It's ice.
Yeah, so the ones around here are awful. The Cherryville fast food places, like if you're going, it's quicker to call it in somewhere and just go get it and come back than it is to go to the drive-thrus in Cherryville. So the Taco Bell, KFC, always 15 minutes from the time you order to the time you leave. It's going to be 15 minutes.
It's like the KFC Taco Bell in Denver.
Yeah, that one's bad.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
The Hardee's in Kings Mountain is a 15-minute wait if there's another car in line. So when you drive by, you have to look and see if there's a car in line. If there is, don't stop.
Don't stop.
You have to know.
Well, this McDonald's I've stopped at a couple times just coming in on like Monday or Wednesday, and I feel it's still long. Like there might not be, but 2 cars in front of me, I still feel like it takes 10 minutes to get it. I'm like, hello?
Yep.
Have you ever seen anybody on any fast food pranks on YouTube or anything like that? You ever watched anything like it?
Not really.
So when we was in college, one of the guys I brought a guy from Wilmington to Cherryville, and he's like, "There's nothing but fucking cows here."
Yeah. Okay.
So and we rode from Bessemer to here, so I took him back roads and so I know all the shortcuts around here. So he's just tripping out we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. This is
BFE, man.
I didn't even know this was North Carolina. He just lost his mind. But
all he'd ever seen was Wilmington in the mountains.
Right. And so
he didn't know there's something in between.
so at McDonald's, he decided he was going to do one of these YouTube prank things. This is before people were doing this stuff on YouTube. He saw it on, I don't know whatever he saw it on. I'm guessing whatever, maybe on Facebook or something. People were doing it where you grab the person in front of his food. You ever seen anybody do that?
No.
So the person in front of us parks, right? Goes up to the drive-thru and they pay. He got out the car and squatted down behind their bumper. And as soon as the lady come back out with the bag, he jumped between them, snatched the bag and ran off.
Oh my God! If I was the person sitting in the car that watched that, I'd be livid.
I'd be livid. Think about it, you paid, you reached out to get your food,
and it's gone.
But what's funny about it is the person got a hand on the bag. So when Steve pulled it, like the fries went all over the hood and windows. It looked like, from our vantage point, it looked like he hit the bag and it just exploded.
Jesus.
So all we saw was fries fly up in the air, and Steve just takes off across the street, and we see him with the bag in hand dive like DJ Jazzy Jeff style headfirst into the bushes over there, and he hit it over there across. Like the person, now remember, I'm behind the car in front of us, so I saw him jump in the bushes. I'm 99% sure the person in front of me saw the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like
they know he's there. He's right there. But they just don't want to go get it. They feel like they'll get mugged. Like, dang, this is the first food jumping I've ever been a part of.
And see, we used to have a Burger King in Cherryville when I was little, and it went out of business. And then
now it's back, and it's packed all the time.
It moved literally where the Bojangles is now. Mm-hmm. It moved. That's where it was. So it moved what, three spots over?
That's it. Maybe 300 feet.
It's not far.
No.
But yeah, I always thought they did good back then. See, so where McDonald's is now, when I was little, that was a Hardee's.
Yeah.
And then now we don't have a Hardee's, but that was the Hardee's. And behind it, I don't know if you've ever seen it, there's a little Japanese seafood place behind McDonald's over here. In the drive, when you're in the drive, it was right there.
Yeah, I know exactly what it is.
That was the original McDonald's. If you look at the building, you'll see the old school, how it used to be painted like red and yellow and all that other stuff. Yeah. That was the McDonald's. Hardee's went out of business. McDonald's moved to that corner. And then Burger King opened up, and then they went out of business, and then they came back and moved to the corner.
They always come back.
Yeah,
it's weird, though, but like, you ask a lot of people, and they wouldn't agree with me on this, but I prefer Burger King to McDonald's.
I do, too. McDonald's is the last on my list.
Yeah,
it's favorite food.
It's not very good.
Fast foods.
Like McDonald's has something along where most of the time it is fast.
Right.
You're usually going to get your stuff as soon as you order, and by the time you get up there, they're not going to be like, "Can you pull up a little bit?" Unless for some reason, every time I order a double quarter pounder, they're like, "We make it fresh. Can you please pull up over there and wait?" I'm like, "Sweetheart, nothing here is fresh, so I don't know what you're talking about." But yes, I can. But I don't know. Like, I'm not big on the mini fries. They're like the size of my pinky, and sure, you get a ton of them, but I'd much rather have the thick cut fries that Burger King gives me. And I think the Whoppers just taste better than the Big Mac. It just has, what, Thousand Island on it?
Yeah, so when I was in school, they didn't have a thing called, dietary anything. Like,
yeah.
As in, I mean, they had the food pyramid on the wall, but like,
you didn't have to follow
to put it this way, like, a lot of guys, I didn't eat like this. I'm not a fries or ranch person. I don't like ranch that much, but there was an option where you could buy like there's like 3 orders of fries, basically what it is. Out of lunch trays like this size, whatever.
Yeah,
they would fill the whole plate up with fries, and then you'd get another tray and fill it up with ranch dressing, and then two people would sit there and just eat nothing but fries for lunch. And that's what a lot of people's lunch was, like, seriously. And they were just like the McDonald's fries.
Well, the best thing
that's
ever,
what I could always ever think is, I swear I thought they bought those, like from the same company. Whoever McDonald's is buying the fries from, that's what the school.
Well, I don't know about you, Peyton, but like, obviously we went to the same high school together. But the only way I could really, how did I say this, stomach the lunchroom pizza was with ranch.
Right.
You could get the ranch, and sure, it would be like 50 cents extra, and you just kind of pour it or just dunk it in. That's the only way I could stomach it.
Yeah. You talking about the Mexican college pizza, or did y'all have like 2 different types of pizzas, or just one?
It was like the square stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
the rectangular ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before y'all got to school, there was the rectangles that y'all have. This is obvious crap. Mm-hmm. They had another one they called Mexican pizza. But it wasn't Mexican pizza. Like, so if you go to Taco Bell, you get lettuce, tomatoes, all this stuff.
Yeah.
That was not it. It was basically like a cheddar in a different type of sauce, and it was like a spicy version of whatever that was.
A spicy rectangular pizza.
But it wasn't rectangles. It was cut in 6 sides. It was hexagons.
Oh, like a crunch wrap. Right. It looks like a crunch wrap, but it's not.
But that was like everybody's favorite, because the squares was the secondary. It's like, oh man, we got squares today.
I will say this though.
They would have one on like Tuesdays and the other on Thursdays. It would rotate.
I will say this. I don't remember what year they implemented it, but it was almost like it was an extras line or whatever it was. You had, of course, like 3 lines you could go through. That was the normal stuff. And then you had an extras line where it was the better stuff. And some days you would have like spicy chicken nuggets in there. Well, the best time to do that, though, I felt like was pizza day, because they would have almost like Hunt's Brothers sitting there, just pizza. It just looked so much better than the rectangular ones. Sure, you had to pay, of course, extra for it, but I'd still dump ranch on it. I didn't care.
Delicious,
I was like, it was good, but it just came down to the point where this is how I'm going to stomach it. So you better throw me about 2 of those ranches, please.
Did you have any game day special foods, or were you ever like?
Yes,
I'm not a what is it called, superstitious person, where like I have to eat my same meal or wear the same thing.
Now, see, I didn't have a superstition meal that I would eat before we would go play games. But I will say this: if we ever had some home games, sometimes some away games too. This is just for us on the soccer team. It was me and my buddy Travis. I think you and Travis graduated together.
What's name?
Kaiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me and Travis.
You played tennis?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was me and Travis, and we did this a couple times. We would tell, because let me see, I think we were in the same class together. We were in Miss Corcoran's class at the time. And we would tell Miss Corcoran, hey, we're going to go see Dan before our game today and get on the stent machine. And we would leave class early and go down to the trainer's office, because we knew he would be down there. And we would just get on the stem machine, and we would just get, the electrical pulses that we would, whether on our back or on our legs or something. But when we were done, we would go to drums.
Yeah.
We would just go to drums, and we would just go to drums to get food, and that would be like our pregame meal, get like a big greasy burger or something. Because varsity, we still had a few hours. JV had to play and whatnot, so we would just go in and grub out. But we would just leave class and be like.
Did you ever do team meals in soccer or anything like that? Anybody ever feed y'all? Football.
You're talking like how football does, like sometimes a church feeds you or something?
That's what I was saying. Yes.
I think it was like every Friday, at least someone would feed the football team.
Right. We were fed at all schools, at both schools I went to, whether or not it was either church or at Cherryville, we actually ate at Roman Italian quite a bit.
Sometimes.
They were big on giving us pasta and carbs.
I don't know
they filled us with carbs.
I don't know if you guys did the same thing, though. It would depend on the drive. Like how far you would have to go for like an away game. Sometimes a parent would be like, I'll make sandwiches, or I'll send, at least and I know at halftime after every game we had like orange peels, and at least like a family or like would supply us with Gatorade too.
Right.
But like it would just be mostly sandwiches, and it also depend like however far away the game was and what time we would be done. Kids on the bus, sometimes they would stop at like McDonald's or Burger King on the way home.
Yeah.
Is that the same way?
Yeah, like because we went to. It was like Brevard one year, I think, for like regionals or something, and we stopped at a McDonald's just because it was such a far drive.
Those smaller sports, like when I played golf, we ate so much because you're taking a smaller group of people,
right?
Going, and a lot of times, like you just said, Brevard, like you end up playing these far off places. We even played a golf tournament with Brevard in the region. That's where we played a regionals at Bobby Jones course up there, and you're right, Peyton. Those do turn into a lot of eating on those. Baseball wise, there was funny you brought up Dan's. There's a place in Bedford City called Little Dan's, and we would go there for after school before baseball games. That was the team thing. It was an immediate, as soon as the bell rung, go there, because you'd still have, because we'd give each other like an hour before we have to be back, so we go relax somewhere. That wasn't like the football thing.
Dan was
way
the trainer,
organized.
So we would go to Dan that was a trainer, but there was a place.
I know that. I'm saying it popped in my head. I'm going to Dan's. I'm like,
I was gonna say, don't think I'm eating at Dan's. All right, I would go to Dan the trainer and get on the stem machine,
right?
And then we would go to drums. And anybody that's listening from the Catawba County area, and you miss drums, because it was the year after I graduated from high school. It was your senior years when they were starting to tear down drums so that they could widen 16. And that, for the community as a whole, you hated to see that, because drums was a staple for Friday nights before and after a football game.
Yep.
You would go there with your friends and your family, and you would just go eat at drums, and you would go and enjoy a football game. And even kids from, like, I know Maiden area has Don's, but even they knew about drums, and it was just sad to see that go, and especially for, just the high school experience, because some teachers, for your lunch, they would let you go out of the school system and go get some lunch somewhere, and a lot of people would go to drums, and just to see that go, that was really sad, and really it was a big part of soccer for me, because of course, and I'm not gloating, but outside of my freshman year, I was varsity the whole time, so we didn't play till late if we were at home, so we would just go to drums and just go kick back and chill until it was time to play.
Yep.
I just glanced at your tattoo there on your arm, Hunter. I was watching Harry Potter. It makes me think of that.
Why?
Have you not seen Harry Potter movies?
Which I know, but like, why? What do you?
I just the thing coming down your forearm in the
It's
Potter,
a nail,
right? In the Potter movies, it's a snake.
Oh,
and they put you watch Harry Potter,
Yeah,
so you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So the bad guys, Hunter, would call each other by touching their tattoo with their wand.
Oh, okay.
And it moves. So just when you split it up, that's all. We watched it like last night. My wife is a teacher, and that's her favorite movie. That's what she got for Christmas was all of the DVDs. So we're on 4 now.
Yeah.
And they were doing that yesterday. And when you pull that up, I was like, how about called him, ask you if you were in Slytherin or something.
I don't know.
Do you follow any of that? That I'm talking about? No. You're not a Harry Potter aficionado?
Listen, I'm not a Harry Potter aficionado when it comes to the movies. Now, the books, I read every single book.
Oh, okay.
And that was only because that was the only way I got all my AR points in elementary school.
Yep.
that was it. I was not going to read multiple books to do that so I could go to Fun Friday. All I wanted to do was just knock it out, and I would do it. But it did teach me to read at a very high level at a young age.
I'd try to explain to Amy that guys just want to read. We don't want to read these long books. So no. I would do that. I would read a bunch of sports books and then one long one like Tom Sawyer.
Right.
So you'd get the biggest, hardest one. I'm gonna do that first. I'm gonna read all the fun stuff, and then go.
It's crazy to think that was how they had to get you to read though as a kid. Because trust me, I didn't want to read at all. I just wanted to have fun and play games or something. But to get you to read, do you want to go outside and play? Well, you got to get like these 30 points by this time. This is how you're gonna do it. You're gonna read.
Just an awful way of teaching us.
I know. Public.
was kind of talking about like pregame meals and stuff there, Hunter. Two things. You've had a lot of burger, right?
Yes.
In Cherryville.
Yes. You've brought it to me one time.
Got to get you some one time.
It's a lot of burger.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like it is.
That exact quote. It was one of the funniest things I'd ever heard. Is when I was at Bessemer. So Peyton, Cherryville is famous for a lot of burgers. So there's a restaurant up here on the right when you go to town called the Shake Shop that I think they're the original one. But there's like 7 different places you can get one in Cherryville now. All it is 2 burger patties, and they're thick. This ain't a McDonald's or Burger King, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
So it's basically 2 cheeseburgers, and it's on a like a sub roll bun, sesame seed sub roll bun.
Okay.
So it's that, and then whatever you want on the burger, you can get. If you just called it in and said I want a lot of burger, it would come with pickles, slaw, and cheese. I think maybe ketchup. I'm not sure, but slaw and pickles it comes with. If you just ask regular whatever. Anyway, get all that aside. I brought some of the Bessemer boys over here, the linemen. The big eaters. They were talking big. Wanted to go eat somewhere one day. I said, well, I'm gonna take you boys to Cherryville. So we come up here and ate. And our lineman Hunter now he's a cook. He's a chef in Charlotte. Not like he's a chef. But he weighed 380 pounds, almost 400. Big old boy.
A lot of boy.
He ate the burger and fries and got halfway through the burger and he goes, boys, I can't do this. He said, I'm gonna tell you, that's a lot of burger. That was his thing. And then so he took it home. A couple of them finished it. I mean, it's not that big. I guess he didn't have that big of an appetite that day, but they all loved it. That was good. But one thing, it's kind of weird. Talk about pregame meals, and this lady, I'm not going to say any names or anything, but we had a lady at one of my schools who cooked her pregame meals. Like at Bessemer, we cooked them a lot, and I'm talking the best homemade mac and cheese. I'm talking soul food. This lady came in. It was one of her running backs, this bomb, and it just fantastic. I can picture, I can hear her voice in my head serving us. Just the nicest lady in the world. Now, with that said, I'm gonna get a little dark. Okay. I'm serious.
Okay.
So, how big is we talk safety and that we've talked concussions before and stuff. And one of the things that when we get serious on, I like to bring up is do you have anybody, Hunter? I know soccer is a quietly concussion-prone sport.
I had 3.
People don't talk about.
I had 3. All of them from soccer?
Do you have anybody that you played with that you have any suspicions that any type of concussions or something may have led to any other behaviors or changes in their lives or lifestyles? Anybody, you don't have to name any names, anyone you're concerned with or that you maybe that had, because I'm going to point something out here in a second. I just want yes or no. It ain't that big.
Because, I mean, even my 3 concussions, now one of them was pretty major. I mean, I actually blacked out and woke up and I had no idea where I was. But no, other than that, no, I don't think so. But that's mostly because I know it's quietly a concussion-prone game, soccer, but I didn't know many people that had a concussion when we played.
And you don't know. Well,
but even then,
nobody
they don't
checked anything back then.
No.
We had one kid that was suplexed. And pretty much, he was Goldberg. You know, he puts him up real high, and then he slams him down. That's what it looked like on tape.
Yeah.
And the whole rest of the game, he's still on the sidelines with the smelling salt and never came back in. Nobody called it a concussion, but, you know, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
So the reason I was saying that and what I was going to say about getting a little dark on this is playing football, you know, I noticed my grades changed. I noticed, you know, body aches and different things hurt. I had back problems, neck problems, just some things, and now especially like hip and stuff. But looking back on it, and one thing that scares me, or in general, is looking at the running back. So I think they're the toughest people on the field. I don't know how many times I've been in a huddle and a running back comes back. You know, first of all, he's out of breath because he just ran. Then he got tackled. He's covered in mud, dirt. But I mean, they take hits that they don't see coming, big hits, and they're hitting the ground every play. Everyone that tackles them usually is bigger than them. They take a pounding is what I'm getting at.
Right.
Hunter, I can write down 10 backs that I played with in 2 different high schools. Every single one of them, I can't name one that I've ever played with in my life that I can say he moved on and had a great to good life. I'm trying not to be down or bad on people that I've played with or know, but for example, the kid that I was talking about, his mom cooked for us, he murder-suicided his own family, like at age 27. Another kid was shot in a gang related by AK-47 at a stop sign in the middle of Gastonia in front of hundreds of people. Another guy was involved in a drive-by shooting. Another guy was involved in a robbery gone wrong, turned into a shooting murder. It wasn't him that shot. It was another guy. He ended up dying on a motorcycle like 6 months after getting out of prison. 2 other guys I can go in with on them. Like they just had a terrible time. I know that guy's an alcoholic. Like bad. Like when you say somebody's an alcoholic, that guy's an alcoholic. Like bad. And just looking at this list, if I can write down, and it's not any other position. Like I can't look at another position and think like if you ever spoken to Andre and thought he's not got a clear head, no, like he's there. He's all any of these guys. I wouldn't feel comfortable almost sitting in the same room with any of them. Not that they're dangerous, but they're just. I don't know. I think it did have an effect. The running,
the running backs and the blows to the head.
Right. So when you run through the middle, you're ducking your head. That's the point you're taking. And you learn at playing linebacker and safety. You know they tell you not to use your helmet and stuff, Hunter.
They tell you to stay up.
But if you don't lose your helmet, you get hurt.
Yeah.
If you do not learn to use your helmet as a weapon on the field and how to avoid other people's helmets hurting you, you're going to get hurt because you're not going to be in position to make a good hit if you're not doing that. And I don't know, just the pounding. Like I said, I don't know how many running backs have come back to the huddle, blood or snot coming out their nose.
I mean, we're seeing it now with ex-professional athletes.
Right.
Sometimes, you know,
right.
And then.
So when people bring that stuff up and they're like, well, we don't hear about it much in high school, it really hits home with me.
Right.
Because I've seen it. Like I said, I can write down every running back I've played with, and I can point out each one, and I could say that guy's been in jail.
And there's a difference, and it's mostly because nobody's testing that just for high school kids. True. And really, if you think about it, they're not testing it. Sure, they'll go underneath the tent, but they're not testing it for college kids either. Like not that really. Don't make it to the next level. Mm-hmm. They're not really saying, well, let's see what the repercussions were from you playing in college. Mm-hmm. Have you taken substantial damage to your brain? And I know what you mean, though, just by playing about, you feel the aches and pains. I mean, that's how I am. I can't walk through my house. I played, the way I played was I was cut my 7th grade year of soccer, my first year in middle school, and that hurt so bad that I pushed myself to the limit to be the best I could be everywhere I was. And so what it was, I would go from school ball when I made it in 8th grade to off-season ball, to fall ball, spring ball, and then we would play school ball again. So I did not give, and that's why they're telling a lot of kids now to play multiple sports, to give certain joints a rest. But I feel it now. My hips pop when I walk through a quiet house. You would think it was Rice Krispies. I snap, crackle, and pop everywhere with my ankles and my knees, and I'm 24 years old.
Yep.
That's it. I'm 24 years old. But when it comes to head trauma in soccer, I think that's one thing that's not getting looked at either. Because in baseball, you very rarely are you hit in the head in baseball. You get a wild pitch and it was never intentional.
Everybody knows what happened.
Everybody knows what happened.
If you get hit by a ball or a knee or something, we've all seen it. But in football,
and in football,
especially soccer, the headers, you don't know if
people. I mean, the thing is people don't realize how much force that is on your head because they look at it and they say, "Well, it's natural. He's doing it naturally."
You play basketball, pick up basketball.
Yeah. Have
you ever been hit in the nose with a basketball?
Is
that not the worst feeling of all time? It burns. It's like you can smell the inside of the basketball.
I will tell you about something that happened to me. And if Jonah listens to this, he's gonna die laughing because he can picture it it's ingrained in his brain. We're playing South Iredale, and this was my freshman year. I was on JV. We're playing South Iredale, and the ball is rolling towards him, and I'm attacking him to try and 50-50 that ball to try and win it. But I realize I'm not going to get there in time. So he's already teeing up, and I jump to try and just block it with my body, and it hits me right in the face. And when I tell you that I go from straight up to horizontal as fast as that happens, that was when they had me sit out for a few practices because they feared I had a concussion. But I got hit so hard in my face, but I popped right back up because the adrenaline was just getting me going. But I didn't have a bloody nose, but I'll tell you what, when the adrenaline stopped, that shit hurt.
Yeah.
And anything that hits you in the face. But I think, to go back to what you were saying, because like you said, in football, you kind of realize it because you're getting hit on every play. Whether or not you're direct hit, they've always said, concussions from people that just in car accidents, it's the whip that can do it in general. And the same thing with football, you're getting hit like by a Mack truck at the speeds that some of these guys are getting hit from.
As far as me, I can honestly count probably the 3 worst hits I got, but the worst ones were when you're getting tackled and your head does hit the ground.
Yes,
because the ground's hardest. I mean,
that's the same thing. The same thing when you see basketball players. Sometimes they go up and maybe or you take a charge, or their legs kind of get swiped out from under them coming down, and just their head hits the floor, and that's where a lot of them get a lot of the concussions. But I'm leaning towards you and saying it's the same thing though. While they're doing a lot of testing concussion wise in football, I don't think they are in soccer, and it is because when you do use your head, they teach you to use this, not your temple, but the corner of your forehead, because it's kind of more solid there. And
you guys allowed to wear those little padded helmets now in game?
I think you can.
Play?
I think you can. Yeah,
I think that's a smart idea.
And I know goalies that do it, and I know a goalie that does do it because he had his ear ripped off by a cleat. That's beside the point. But
somebody was in the wrong position.
Well, not just that.
If a goalie's getting a cleat in the ear.
Well, you got to look at it like this.
Something went wrong.
Those balls sometimes are 50-50 balls. The ball is going to the goalie. He's coming down to react to it. Right. The guy that's trying to get it can only touch it with his foot. So if he misses that ball, goalie grabs it, and that cleat grabs his ear, it'll just rip it off. It just depends on how it grabs him. But soccer-wise, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, they're just not testing it, because not only are you heading the ball off corner kicks, which you're forcefully putting your head into someone that kicked the ball as strong as they can to try and put it in a spot, but not only that, when a lot of people will go up and try and head a ball that has been kicked 30 feet in the air.
Right.
Instead of just trying to take it off the chest, and even that, that will take the breath out of you if you're not careful and you don't kind of come at it with your chest. If you just let that straight hit your chest, it'll take the wind out of you. So I just think that's something that needs to be looked at as well. If we're just going to sit here and talk about that really quick, is I think anything that deals with you getting a possible blow to the head should be at least be looked at some point. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I might not have at least a bruise somewhere on my brain. It's not enough to affect me. I think I've done pretty well, but I have had 3 of them, and one of them I know my lights were out. I had no idea where I was. And it's crazy when you talk about people that have seen people react under concussions and stuff. Your subconscious takes over.
And you go
like I had no idea I was talking.
Yeah, and then you go and you look at the whole Aaron Hernandez thing, and
yes.
He was completely normal.
That's my list.
Yeah, I mean, he was normal, and he killed technically 3 people.
He was also in a gang.
Yeah.
That probably didn't help his...
I mean, you would have never seen it coming.
That didn't help, but at the same time...
They just... those
I don't think they looked at his brain, though.
And again, Hunter, all of these are high school kids are now grown adults, and again, what it brings up the college thing to where these kids are they're not being paid.
Right.
So not even underpaid, they're not being paid. And you're doing a lot of risking certain stuff for that. All right, I'm going to get Peyton's opinion on this. So Mason Rudolph has been named the starter for... Now, this is an investigation, Peyton, so you don't need to really know anything other than what you see. And I want you to tell me who's at fault here. So we've had this argument before. So Mason Rudolph and Myles Garrett got into this fight a few months back on the Browns and the Steelers. All right, so Peyton, the background you need to know is everyone right now thinks a lot of people think it's the Browns guy was the violent one,
right,
in this fight. I, as his public defender, contend that he was acting in self-defense, and the other team in the white and yellow are the aggressors in this matter.
Is this when he throws his helmet or does something with the helmet? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is when he hits the quarterback with his own helmet.
Yes.
And so I'm going to you as the arbiter of truth. You don't have a dog in the fight. You haven't seen it.
Is this because he's playing?
Yes. He was named the starter this Friday. He returns
against Cleveland.
Against Cleveland. So, all right. So we're gonna play this, and we're gonna let Peyton see what he sees, and he can tell me what he thinks. So this is the full speed action of the play. I don't think that was it. It must be the next play. Yeah, it's this play. So, all right. Did you watch anything? Watch the quarterback here, and he's tackled and wrapped up. And all right, did you see anything bad there?
No, not for me.
All right. So here's where we get crazy. So Rudolph's the quarterback. Garrett is tackling him. He doesn't know he doesn't have the ball. He quarterback the way you can hit him. Okay, so he takes him down. Now, right now, does that look like a hard takedown?
No.
He fell on top of him.
Yeah,
right.
We're not going to get taken off for this, are we?
No, who knows?
Well,
if
maybe.
we do, what are we going to do? Now, right now,
nothing.
Who's acting like a jackass, Peyton?
Run it back real quick.
All right. The guy runs out of bounds. All right. At 28 seconds is when it starts. Okay. So he lays him down.
Right.
Now watch. Who's acting like the jackass right now?
Looks like Rudolph.
Right.
Trying to take his helmet off.
And
right.
Look at his foot placement.
Oh, yeah, I see
his
that now.
His foot's between his legs.
Yep.
He tried to take his helmet off. Now also look at the rest of the evidence, Peyton. Does the guy in the Browns uniform have teammates helping him?
Not a single one.
Put it this way. Let's think about this. Take off the fact we're not arguing football play here. Now we're arguing in the court of public opinion. We're in a court. This is a street fight. Okay? So we're trying to figure out who's at fault for the fight.
Right.
Who do we blame?
Right.
So right now, what are we looking at, Peyton?
I would blame Rudolph.
Okay. So here's where we go. We'll go a little further. It's still 3-on-1. He's got 2 linemen grabbing his upper torso, and the quarterback still has his foot in his crotch.
Yep.
Right? So Garrett says, well, I'm going to grab your helmet, sir. Now, Peyton, if someone come down the street and tried to take your hat off, would you not just try to take their hat off too?
I mean, yeah. I mean, probably, yeah.
So he gets him down on the ground and rips his helmet off. Now, once the helmet comes off, Peyton, all right, pause. Helmet is off. Garrett has the helmet in possession.
Yep.
The gang member in the 66 jersey still has him wrapped up. The leader of the gang is laying on the ground, wondering what just happened to me. They just took my bandana.
Right.
So Garrett, watch this. Which way is Garrett's going? Is he backing up? Is the Browns defender backing up away from the play?
That's what it looks like, yes.
What is Rudolph doing?
He's running towards him.
He's attacking him, right?
Yeah.
So if you're backing up in the street like this and the guy's coming at you, whose fault is it? So he comes up. Now remember, he's got one of his gang thugs. The Joker's got one of his thugs over here with his hands on him already, holding him.
Uh-huh.
He comes over here, gets up in it. Well, guess what, boss? Once there's two of you on you, get some. Now, let's rewind about 2 seconds back. Did he hit him with the helmet?
It looked like the bottom.
Or did he hit him with the pad of the helmet?
The pad for the bottom of the helmet, yeah.
Boom. Oh, poor Mason. So again, we're still with 3 people. There's the 4th Steeler. Now finally a Brown comes over to help. Now, well, look at this, Peyton. One guy's got him, while 53, the other gang member is punching him.
Yep.
Look at this. 2 Steelers on top of one. Baby in the back without his helmet's laying on the ground. Finally, another Brown comes over. He just kicked him in the helmet.
The head, yeah.
Still punching him in the helmet.
You know where Mike Pouncey went to college, right?
Florida.
You know who he's teammates with, right?
Yeah, Aaron Hernandez and Tebow.
You think Tebow would have had a little bit more?
So Rudolph gets thrown back after getting in the middle of it, and he calls Agunye a bitch, laying on his back. How you call somebody a bitch laying on your back?
Can't.
Now what you want? So, Peyton, from start to finish, who is the aggressor and who started this fight and who should be responsible for everything?
Mason Rudolph.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Case closed. Steelers fan. Just because he's sitting in front of a Cleveland banner right now does not mean anything to do with him being a Browns fan. He's not a Browns fan.
Do you know what's crazy? The fact that the Steelers are playing Mason Rudolph this weekend.
I know.
It is kind of crazy.
Like, why? And I don't think they're taking any shots at Cleveland for this, but they do realize, like, if like Buffalo loses, they could at least try and challenge for the 2 seed, and the Cleveland doesn't.
Has Buffalo locked the 2?
I don't know if they've locked the 2. If they have, then I understand it. But at the same time, you really want to risk Cleveland getting another win and, I don't know, making the playoffs?
If they've locked the 2, it just
doesn't quite compute to me because, one, Big Ben has not played good this year. I mean, he's played decent, and the Browns have everything to lose in this game. So they're going to come out and play hard as they can be. Why are you almost giving them this game? And I would like to see Cleveland make the playoffs,
no,
but
Pittsburgh's 12-3.
Huh?
They're both 12-3.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's a lock for this 2. So why would you not play Ben? Or is it a lock for the 2 because Buffalo beat Pittsburgh?
Now, Buffalo, it's not a lock because Buffalo loses and Pittsburgh wins.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe they don't care as far as 2 or 3.
They know they have to play, but then it comes down to matchups.
Because when you do that, well, follow me here, one will play the winner of 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they're 2 or 3, they won't have to play Kansas City into the AFC Championship. So that doesn't matter. But if you look at it, either way, they're if they win and they're in, I think they're more concerned with, let's just make sure Ben's healthy.
Probably.
Because if he's not out there, they don't have a chance.
Right.
And if he's out there, they got a chance to win the damn thing. So that's the same thing with the Miami we talked yesterday. Do you really want to go to the playoffs of Tua?
That's what I said. Is like you got opportunity to make the playoffs here. You think you're really going to win that first game with a rookie? Because you're playing a team in Tennessee. It's winnable. But do you think Tua gives you the best opportunity in this situation for Ryan Fitzpatrick? I don't know. It's too close at this point, really, for me to think that you would sit Ben. But if you don't care what your seeding is, just as long as he comes into this game healthy, but to put Mason Rudolph on the field, good Lord, I think he's going to get killed if he breathes wrong. I think he's going to get jumped. And it's just going to be a freaking bloodbath.
He's going to get jumped.
Where is this being played? Cleveland or Pittsburgh?
I think it's in Cleveland.
Oh, my God, he's dead.
We don't.
Chalk it.
I mean,
chalk
we
it.
probably don't have any fans out there though, Hunter.
Are y'all gonna have your receivers back?
I guess.
I
don't know, but yeah. So Peyton, this weekend, the Browns, their whole wide receiver core, except one guy, was out with contact tracing problems. Is basically the idea behind it, I guess. Right, Hunter? It's not like they all had corona.
Yeah, no, not all of them had it. It was just you were near him.
Right. So what the NFL made them play anyway, so they had to go out there. The Browns went out there without any wide receivers, and the coach called 53 passes and 11 runs with no wide receivers.
Good grief.
I can't explain it other than I believe the NFL's fixed. Speaking of that, I got Peyton on 2 questions.
All right, go ahead.
Peyton, if the spread is 14.
Wait. Do you understand spreads?
Not entirely, no.
Okay, let me do it.
All right.
A spread is when you're betting on the game,
right,
and you say, I think the Bills are going to win by 3.
Yes.
3 points is the spread.
Okay.
All right? So
they're -3.
3, let's get in your head. Let's say 3 points is the spread. So at this one game, it was 6.5. So the Eagles score to cut it within 8 points. The spread's 6.5. There's a minute left in the game. If they kick the extra point, they're down by 7, which every football team in the history of the world has done.
Right.
But instead, they go for 2 and get it and cover the spread. And people don't think that's fixed.
I mean, well,
why else would they do that?
It does sound like
with
it
a minute
is.
left.
Yeah, with a minute left. Yeah.
So the Browns Ravens game 2 weeks ago, Baltimore was up 3 with the spread 3.5.
Right.
Cleveland got the ball back with like 12 seconds left. They ran a play where you lateral, and try to score. They ended up losing the ball out of the back of the end zone. Ravens got 2 points to cover the spread. The last play of the game, Peyton, is 12 laterals out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
And they want to tell me that's on the up and up. That's on the up and up.
I don't know. Well, you're into conspiracy theories, though, aren't you?
I think everything's a conspiracy.
Yeah, well, that's probably why you believe that.
I believe everything.
I told him, I said, I can't do it.
I believe everything that the government doesn't tell me.
I can't do it. I can't do it because until it comes out and somebody uncovers it.
He wants to believe so bad.
No, I'm just saying.
Tim Donaghy, what do you mean until somebody uncovers it? The NBA ref?
That's the NBA. That is the NBA. Until the NFL comes out with it.
The kid from Chicago just said it last week. Nobody believed him.
I'm just saying.
Kid from Chicago said that they make them sign non-disclosure agreements about the games being fixed, and
right.
they can't talk about it, or they'll, I guess, I don't know, lose all their money. But that's what they make them do. All right, Hunter, here's my new power rankings, and it's getting a little silly over here,
isn't it?
Yeah, this weekend was just a nut house.
It screwed everything
and messed up a little bit.
Well, you know who screwed it up? Washington and Dallas. They did it.
And the Browns not beating the Jets.
Well, yeah, holy shit.
What was that about?
I just told you. We're idiots. They fumbled 3 times in the fourth quarter.
And one of them was like in the red zone.
Yeah, fumbled on the 15-yard line. Quarterback. Good job. All right, so...
with that, do you move off of him? Is that what you're claiming?
What?
You move off Baker?
No.
Not yet?
If you lose a game with no wide receivers, I can't hold that against
I'm about to say,
anyone.
He lost to the damn Jets.
Anyone, though.
But then again, so did the Rams.
Right. Yeah. And the Rams had all their players.
They had everybody.
We didn't have any players.
Jesus. Embarrassing.
So my rankings now, this week we eliminate the Raiders because they were obviously officially eliminated by the Dolphins. So they're out. Last week we had gotten rid of the Patriots.
They've been out.
What's left is outside the 14 spot on our poll, guys. I've got the NFC East champion no matter what. I've eliminated all of them. I eliminated the Bears 2 weeks ago. Then they decided to have a 2-game winning streak.
And Trubisky decided to play great. Holy cow.
And now the Cardinals are on the outside looking in. The Colts, Browns, Titans, Ravens, and Dolphins are in a 5-way tie at 10-5, and currently the odd man out is Indianapolis. With the schedule this weekend, it's favoring that Cleveland will be the odd man out and lose, but after last weekend, we don't have any idea. Between the NFL and then the Hornets beating the Nets.
Shut up.
The Hornets beating the Nets should just prove you it's fixed right there. Ain't no way. They lost to the worst team in the NBA the day before and then beat the Nets. All right, Hunter, so I got Chiefs 1, Packers 2. I like the Saints better than the Packers, but damn, the Packers, Drew Brees is outside in the playoffs. The record is not good. It's 2-6, I think.
I know. You're going to have to go through Green Bay with winter.
You don't have to. You can cross your fingers and hope someone else beats them first.
Yes.
Because if you're in the 2 seed, you can be in the dome against everybody except Green Bay.
Who does New Orleans play this weekend? Carolina? Or is it Atlanta? I think it's Carolina because I think Carolina's played Tampa Bay twice.
I will tell you.
And that's only because I'm looking at it saying Green Bay might have every reason to sit Aaron Rodgers this weekend.
So who'd you ask me who plays?
It is the Saints.
The Panthers.
They play the Panthers. Okay.
Play the Saints. Saints favored by 6.5.
You think the Saints sit players? Because this is what the problem comes to this week. Teams that are on the outside looking in are sitting nobody. But teams that are locked in, they'll sit somebody. I think Andy Reid's already come out and said Kansas City's probably going to sit Patrick Mahomes this week and a couple other stars.
No, New Orleans they're playing because they can still get the 1 seed.
See, that's what I didn't know is if Green Bay had just officially locked it.
They can still get the 1 seed. Seattle may be able to too. They just got it based on win percentage in conference games. They're both 9-2, so I don't know how that.
If that's the case, then
no. New Orleans got the tiebreaker over Seattle in conference, 9-2 against 8-3. Green Bay and Packers, I don't know how they'll do that. Well, if Green Bay loses, that means they'll have a worse division and a worse conference record than the Saints. So the Saints would get the 1 seed.
Okay, so
they didn't play.
Green Bay can't sit anybody then.
No.
Smart-wise, they can't if they want the 1 seed.
Yeah, they can't.
Who do they play this weekend? They play.
Everybody plays each other.
I know. I'm saying, do they play the Bears?
Packers and Bears.
Oh my! Where is it? Soldier?
Yes.
Oh my! Now, I think Aaron Rodgers is on a mission, but in Soldier with that defense in Chicago, and for some reason Trubisky has caught fire.
Trubisky's caught fire.
Goodness gracious, we're gonna keep our eyes on that one.
All right. Well. Brownies, at least they get Rudolph, Hunter. That's great news, honestly. I mean, they were looking bad because the Colts got Jacksonville, and Miami's got the Jets, I think.
No, I think Miami plays Buffalo.
Oh, do they?
Final game of the season.
Yeah, go Bills.
That's right.
And then Ravens. If we play Pittsburgh, they got the shitty team. They got the Bengals.
Yeah, the Bengals just beat Pittsburgh.
Whatever. All right, Hunter, for the first time in 13 years, the Patriots are not in the playoffs. For the first time
in 13 years.
For the first time in 13 years, the Bucs are in the playoffs.
It's Tom.
Is it a coincidence?
It's Tom.
2 things is it Tom?
I think it is Tom.
So Belichick throwing his phone now. Did you see that? So who do you think? What do you think he's mad? What do you think he was mad at there? Was that offense, defense?
No, that was Tom calling.
Mad at his coaches.
Have fun at home, and he's like, "You son of a."
Who the hell gave Tom this number?
No. He's like, Bill just goes hello, and all he hears is "have fun at home," and he's like, "Who the hell is this?"
Have you ever seen?
It's like a Taken scene. Who is this?
Have you ever seen? And so here's when I go out on a limb and say somebody's not that good, like LaMelo Ball and stuff. I like doing this before anybody else does. So the same thing with the Cam Newton thing. So now when I watch TV and see all these analysts doing their best to come up with a reason
to not say Cam is bad.
To not saying he's bad.
Right. They're trying.
This will be his 6th losing season.
Yeah, he's only had 3 winning.
3 winning seasons, 6 losing seasons in his career. Losing records. For you Tony Romo haters, never had 1 losing season in his career. Thank you very much. Cam's had 6 out of 9 years. And everybody, 2015 was fantastic.
I don't think people realize
6 years ago.
I don't think people realize too that There's big questions on if he's even going to be signed next year because once this season is over, he doesn't have a contract.
The one pass he threw, did you see the pass he threw in the dirt?
You talking about the one where he
was crossing?
Yeah, he was stepping up in the pocket and just like he threw it as hard as he could and put that thing right in the dirt.
That's a bad pass.
Is it his shoulder?
Maybe. That's a bad pass.
He had all sorts of bad passes last night.
Right.
He had one.
But the comment I want to make, I was wanting to make on that pass real quick. The comment I was going to make on that is, did you see the receiver's reaction?
He probably was just like, wow.
Like, he kind of shook his head like he knew that, like, this is garbage ass shit. Like, everybody's blaming him, the receiver. You can tell the receiver's just like.
Cam had a throw last night where the tight end, I think, lined up in the slot and went up maybe 5 yards, and it was like a 5-yard in route. Because then he starts to cut in, and Cam stared him down the whole time and still tried to throw the ball in with the cornerback or safety collapsing on him. And it was about picked. And I sat there and I watched it, and I was like, well, what are you doing? Don't you see that, first of all, the linebackers got him cut off on the inside because the linebacker's probably on the tight end. That's most coverages unless you've got one of the best tight ends in the league. And then the safety was collapsing down. You threw that thing in the double coverage, and you stared him down. And I don't know. There were a lot of throws last night for Cam, and that's really just been for this whole season for him where it's all over the place. Like, they're behind him. They're in the dirt. They're up where they have to jump up and try and make a glorious, spectacular leaping catch. And I think, seriously, besides the knock I've always had on his mechanics thrown off his back foot, I think it's a shoulder. I don't think it's right. And it probably was on its way to getting right until Belichick and Josh McDaniels said, well, we're going to use you like they first used you in Carolina, and you're running again. I think his shoulder took too many hits this season, especially in the first few weeks when he was getting running back type carries. I don't know. For someone as big and as gifted with his arm that he can have, it looks bad. What do we always said? We said Cam has a huge arm. It's just one of those, it's like a cannon, though, that nobody knows how to aim. But now, I mean, it looks like his arm really doesn't have much zip on it.
Right.
For him to have a ball where he steps up in the pocket, so he's not even like a 7-step drop. He moves up closer to the line of scrimmage and puts a ball in the dirt. In the dirt.
I wonder, and I don't know why. I'm just trying to think of why or how I would throw a ball that would end up in the ground like that, and
I don't know. Did you just your release point was too low?
My only guess on that. I don't think that's a.
And I know he was kind of moving,
think it's a
but
weak arm for that throw.
Well,
to me, that's almost a.
I think it is though because I watched Josh Allen move and throw the ball on the move all night, and it had zip on it. I mean, the thing was never close to the ground.
No, my thing about it, I think it hit the ground hard though. What I'm saying is that I don't think it was a soft I don't think it was a soft pass. I think it was just straight into the fucking ground. And I'm just mechanically, I'm thinking in my head, Hunter, the only reason I think you could do that is you would hold on to the ball too long.
Maybe he wasn't committed to the throw and kind of like just really didn't want to throw it.
And maybe it concerns me a little is his grip right in the fact of because if you grip the ball too hard, you can do that. I'm just trying. Selling the ball is him dipping his shoulder and having that elbow down like this.
Throwing off that back foot.
To throw it and it goes straight down into the ground, like that's almost, to me, when I throw a football, if it comes low in the ground, it's coming off the side of my hand. To where I don't, and that's what I mean by the grip. Because when I throw it, I'm just thinking to throw the ball into the ground, like you either holding on it too long or it's coming out of your hand and you're not gripping it. So to me, it's either one of the two. And I know those are the complete opposite ends of the spectrum as far as grip. Is either you're holding it too long, or maybe he does have a weak grip and he's holding it too long. But let's think about this real quick. You talk about Josh Allen throwing on the run, and Baker Allen
amazing.
And Baker throws on the run pretty well. If you really think about it, does Cam actually throw on the run well? Has he ever thrown on the run well in his career? His body is so big. To me, all of his best throws have actually been in the pocket because he does have a good arm. He can. Past 10 yards down the field, he's got a pretty decent arm. But right now, it's weird seeing, like, if the ball's coming to the ground, if you got a hurt shoulder, did he have an elbow?
It was his shoulder. Okay. It was his shoulder. Unless his elbow's hurt now and he just don't tell nobody.
I don't see why an elbow would have a problem with the grip. The shoulder. The shoulder would be more a weak thing. The elbow to me would have a grip problem because there's muscles that run. These same muscles run to your elbow. So that's if I'm concerned with that. But to me, like, he's never really been that. So when he threw that pass straight on the ground, I'm just thinking like there's something more than just whether it's. I don't think it's a weak arm. I think it's his mechanics are awful. I was trying to find a picture of it in warm up. Somebody posted a picture on warm ups, Hunter, and it was him and Stidham. And Stidham looked like he was following through like Greg Maddox. Shoulders were square like this to the guy, and Cam was leaning straight back.
You know what else I might think it is with Cam? I think it's mental. It's not quite gone how he thought it was going to go this season.
The sleep thing that everybody's talking about?
He gets up at like 4 and then is dressed by 4:30 and doesn't sip coffee till like 8.
So what is he doing from 3.5 hours? It says he wakes up at 4:20, Hunter. Everybody's like, so is he waking bacon?
Hell, I don't know what he's doing. Listen, I don't know. And then
he says he's out of his house by 4:30. Yeah. And then my favorite comment on there was, one of my favorites was, ain't no way that metrosexual gets out of his house in 10 minutes.
I don't know. I think
it takes him longer to get in his skinny jeans, Hunter.
I think it is mental. Yeah. I think part of it is because it took so long for him to get signed. First of all, I also didn't think that I also think it didn't help. There wasn't a training camp for him to come in and kind of work with and get himself back in football playing shape. Because think about it, he had had a surgery and he had been benched for the rest of because of the surgery, he didn't get to play the rest of the season for the Panthers, so he had an off season where he didn't really get any work in and no training camp. But not only that, it took, it was like the week before the season started and he got signed. Like, it was a last-second signing. He probably thought he was going to be signed earlier, and his camp said they were prepared to wait until there was an opening. So I think it's a mental thing because he probably came in there with some confidence, and then that first game, when he just started throwing multiple picks and then he got benched for Stidham, I think his confidence is gone. And I know he came out and said, last week they were asking if he was mulling retirement. He said, I don't want to go out this way. I don't think he really has a choice now.
You're talking mental. He mentioned it after the game that he hadn't seen his kids in a while, and Hunter, I can't think about not seeing my kids for a while, and whether that's his issue or not. But I'm tired of seeing if this was any other quarterback and he had 5 touchdowns and 13 picks,
they'd say he's garbage,
right?
They'd say bench him.
Right. If it was,
and how does he have a job?
Easiest.
They do the same thing with Dwayne.
Easiest comparison to make it is Matt Ryan. A lot of people think they should get rid of him and trade him. Let's quit. You can't play Matt Ryan. You're not going to win. He's an MVP in a Super Bowl. He doesn't have 5 touchdowns and 13 picks. It's not bad.
It's closer, but it's closer to a touchdown to interception.
I'm trying to find the picture. I guess I'm not. Of course, you find something on the damn internet and then
it's gone
the very next day.
So much stuff comes through the feed.
So stupid.
I know what you mean. I think it is mental, and mental is in every sport. I mean,
right.
What do they say? Well, I think somebody used the term the yips.
Yeah.
The yips in baseball. I feel like Cam might have the yips because when you watch him in the pocket, and in every game, for at least this year with the Patriots, he just doesn't look comfortable.
He plays like a old quarterback with you know what I mean by happy feet.
Yeah, that's all.
Concussion issues, like he's looking to get the play over before it's time to instead of standing.
He doesn't want to get hit
and deliver. Yeah, I don't. So,
but yet he'll take off and run and be fine lowering his shoulder.
He had less passing yards than Josh Allen had rushing yards last night.
What I can say, Josh Allen's nasty.
What do you say about that, Payton? It ain't got nothing to do with your love affair for Josh Allen, Hunter.
Yeah, it does.
It's got to do with
I wore my jersey last night.
The other team's quarterback has more rushing yards than your quarterback has passing yards.
So you would quit. You would lose all confidence and quit.
Well, I think that's kind of just as what happened, though, on the season. Cam's realized he's not really having the success that he has. It seems like almost every other game, as soon as he makes a mistake, he looks over at that sideline and knows Belichick's probably whispering in Stidham's ear, "You got the next snap. You got the next drive." And
yelling in somebody's phone.
Yeah, and yelling and slamming the phone right behind Cam. He might have been saying something about Cam right behind him and just slams that phone because Belichick. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's heartless, but I mean he's kind of rigid. He probably wouldn't care. He's not gonna sugarcoat it. So I just think. I'm not going to sit here and say the Patriots might have not been the perfect fit because I don't think it has anything to do with his fashion and what he does off the field. I just think it's an on-the-field thing. Mentally, he's shot. He looks like a shot fighter at the quarterback position.
He has the same number of touchdowns this season as Mike Glennon, Brandon Allen, C.J. Beathard, and Dwayne Haskins.
And Dwayne Haskins got
the same number of touchdowns. Taysom Hill has 4. Alex Smith has 4. Kyle Allen has 4. Cam has 5. Jalen Hurts just starting 2 weeks ago. He's got 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's got more touchdowns
and
than
2 of them were like 80-yard bombs.
Peyton, there's 32 teams in the NFL.
Yep.
Cam is 37th in touchdowns.
Yeah. You just lose your mind at that point. What are you supposed to do?
Try harder.
Obviously.
Hunter, looking over here at my at our power poll, there's one thing I do want to point out as we look across these teams. I'm gonna say the quarterbacks and see if you find a symmetry. Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Roethlisberger, Breeze, Allen, Wilson, Baker, Tannehill, Brady, Goff, Lamar Jackson, Tua/Fitzpatrick, the Trubisky brothers, and whatever the hell is going on in Washington.
I can tell you what I noticed as soon as you said it is a bunch of them are pocket passers.
Yeah, right. There's no more running quarterback.
The only one is Lamar.
Lamar's in it right now. And
Mitch is, Josh, but he's a pass first. So.
Right. Lamar could be kicked out of the playoffs this week. So if Phillip Rivers replaces him,
it's all pocket passes.
Hunter, it's all the old pocket passers that you didn't want to see play this year besides Josh Allen. It's Phillip Rivers, it's Ben Roethlisberger, it's Aaron Rodgers, it's Drew Brees.
I'm ready for him to go. I'll be the first one to admit
Brady.
it. I'll be the first one to admit it.
So the most running quarterbacks in there, I'd say Lamar's the only one that I would consider a running quarterback. Now, athletic-wise, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes are just crazy
even Aaron
athletic.
Rodgers when he wants to.
Aaron can run. And then obviously Tua, but none of them are Cam Newton or Lamar Jackson
or Kyler Murray.
Who's
looking on the outside looking in.
He's on the outside looking in. Bridgewater's not. He's more of a passer than a runner, I would say. Don't you?
No, yeah, Bridgewater's a pocket passer.
Deshaun Watson's out of the playoffs. I mean, we go through these phases.
Deshaun's more of a pocket passer, but he can move.
We go through these fads every few years, and it ends up being. It's not the I would never say it's just the quarterback because my thing is the defense. So to me, it'll always be. I bet every one of those has a decent defense as well, and that's what I'm batting.
The only one that I'm iffy about out of your top 4 is Green Bay, but
you talk about defensive wise.
Yeah,
the thing about them, we're talking about this. If you want to talk MVP, Aaron Jones is 1,000 yards.
Yeah, he's having
Kansas
a great
City
season.
don't have anybody with 1,000 yards
rushing. No.
So.
Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire probably would have gotten close. We tore his ACL.
Rodgers, I would say he gets the gold trophy for the FU award to my own organization.
For drafting a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah.
And he's going off.
Okay. So while we're talking about, let me bring up these defenses real quick because I want to make sure, and then I got one more point on Cam, see what you guys think on that. So top 12 defenses, folks. 49 of 54 Super Bowl champions have been a top 12 defense. Miami. You tell me if they're in the playoffs, Hunter. Yep. Miami's won.
Yes, as of right now.
Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Rams.
Yes.
Ravens.
Yes.
Washington.
Nope. Well, we don't know yet, but
they're in right now.
As of right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Chiefs.
Yes.
Bucks.
Yes.
Saints.
Yep.
Bears.
Yeah.
Top 9 teams. Top 9 defenses are 9 of the 14 teams.
Mm-hmm.
The 10th is the Giants, who have a chance.
They do have a chance.
11th is the Patriots.
No chance.
Now, let's get 12th, Colts. They got a chance.
They have a chance.
14th, Seahawks, they're in. 15th, Bills. 16th, Cardinals.
They have a chance.
17th, Packers.
They're in.
So the 17 top defenses, only 3 of them are in the playoffs.
You gotta be able to stop
they're
somebody.
all in there.
You gotta be able to stop
all the
somebody.
good defenses are in there.
This ain't college football where Nick Saban, the king of defenses, has come out and said it's an offensive game now. You still got to be able to play defense.
Only the Browns and Titans
defense is terrible.
have a bad defense.
They don't get to the quarterback.
And what I mean by bad is, you're worse than average. Browns and Titans have the two worst defenses in the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I said, because as of right now, the matchup's looking like it'd be Miami and Tennessee. That's a winnable game for Miami. They got the better defense. Tennessee does not.
If it started today, it would be Browns at Bills, Ravens at Steelers, and Dolphins in Tennessee. In the NFC, it would be Bears in New Orleans, Rams in Seattle, and Tampa Bay in Washington. All right, Peyton, see what you think about this. The Washington Redskins no longer exist.
Right.
They've renamed their team, and they may keep it the football team. Their stadium is in Maryland. Should they rename it Maryland football team?
Well, I mean, that wouldn't make sense, though, would it? Because they've always been the Washington whatevers.
Well,
right?
Yes, and they've changed the logo, but they don't actually, their stadium's not in Washington. None of their headquarters are in Washington. It's in Landover, Maryland, is where it's at.
Which they're trying to move closer to D.C. That's why they changed the name so they could get the funds for it.
So, what I'm saying is that I think we should call them the Maryland football team, since they don't want to go by their nickname anyway. Call them the Maryland football team. Tom here is from Cleveland. He's a Cleveland Indians fan, and we have a National Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Cherokee Indian Nation, the Catawba Indian Nation. A lot of them use the actual word Indians, whether or not they were called that before the Europeans got here or not.
Right.
They ended up adopting the name that Columbus gave them. So his point, Braves, he can find a distinction between Braves and Redskins, although, again, growing up myself, I'm only 10 years older than you guys, but just looking back as far as any elders or anybody growing up, I don't ever remember at any point anyone ever referring to any of these teams in a negative way. I'm not saying people don't do that in a negative way. What I'm saying is that I've never seen it. So with that, do you, so how far down the line do you go with this? So did you know that even the Tar Heels are involved in this?
I did not know that.
Did you know the Buffalo Bills are involved in this?
Nope.
How about the Dallas Cowboys?
I think I did know that one.
What about the Texas Rangers?
No.
So the Rangers' original job, I think, was to, or part of it, the immigration help is basically the idea behind that.
Right.
So they're calling them racist. So do we get to a point where we say no people names because is the name Giants is that offensive to short people? You've got Vikings and Celtics and Bucks. And if you want to talk about people that did bad things, well, a Raider or a Buccaneer or a Pirate, pretty sure they have all done bad things.
The Vikings, they purged throughout the Europe,
rape and pillage the seas here, guys.
the Nordic times.
So I don't know. What complaint do you have on the Saints? That they're Saints.
Let me throw it to you like this way, Peyton. I've been saying this really for months now since they came down with football team for Washington. The Cleveland Indians now are looking to change their name. They might go back to what the Spiders that they were at one time. But it comes to the point where it seems like no names are safe. What happens with when PETA jumps in and is like, "Oh, y'all are harming Eagles and Ravens by showing such violence between"?
They've been in on that, especially the live mascot.
Right.
PETA's been heavily.
They hate LSU
mascots,
having that live tiger. But I'm getting to the point where I'm going to ask you, would it not be just beneficial now, where we don't have none of this nonsense, if teams just would start doing what Washington did and just saying, you know what, we're going to say where we're from. Which, if you want to call them Maryland, whatever, we're located in Maryland, and we're a football team.
Right.
So we're the football team. If you want to say in college, you are the University of Virginia. Well, this is our football team. This is our basketball team. We're not the Cavaliers anymore. They did that to Ole Miss. Ole Miss was called the Rebels. They still are called the Rebels, but they got rid of their mascot. It's now a land shark.
That's still the greatest story in the history of the world. Mascot story.
But I'm just saying, like...
Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
about the rebels and
General Akbar.
Yes.
Do you know about Akbar?
No, I don't think so. No.
You know who I'm talking about?
Star Wars.
Admiral
Akbar.
Oh yeah,
the catfish in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So of course, the students were behind the thing of changing the name Rebels in Ole Miss and they wanted to get rid of the logo.
Right.
So they had an online contest, and someone had written in Admiral Akbar as the new mascot, and it got the most votes.
But they didn't go with it.
And the school shot it down.
Should have gone
so
with it.
So the student body voted for Admiral Akbar to be the logo of the Rebels. and then the school shot it down.
To just like bring light to it and these names, these nicknames, these mascots. The reason why Tar Heels is under scrutiny, it's because, during the Civil War era, that was the name, that's the nickname that they gave fighters for the Confederacy in North Carolina. They called them Tar Heels.
Right.
But that name really originated a long time ago when it was the first settlements here in America, and that was because of how much tar there was here in North Carolina being used because we were a major shipping dock. We would make ships. That was what the coast was for. We would make ships here in North Carolina. They would use the tar to waterproof the ships.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you're singling out a single thing, because when me and you sit here and if we talk about the Tar Heel, yeah, look at that, is admirable. but I'm just saying, me and you sit here and we talk about Tar Heels. What's the thing that pops in your head? Do you think about the Civil War?
No, I don't.
Is that something that pops up into your mind?
No.
Do you think about them making ships and covering it with tar?
No.
I don't either.
99% of Tar Heel fans have no idea about any of that.
They have. For God's sakes, North Carolina is referred to as the Tar Heel state.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to just recall the whole damn state?
And that was named actually by like the people that were invading. Was that
they couldn't
beat us because they kept getting stuck here
And not only that, the reason why they said it for the Confederacy said the fighters fought so hard they never moved. It was like their heels were stuck with tar.
Right.
And it's just. I could do the same thing then technically and say, I'm not trying to just get religious here, but with the Blue Devils, Duke, I could sit here and say I'm offended by the name devil. I don't care if they're blue, red, yellow, or what. As a part of my faith, the name and you referring to something as devil is offensive.
I'm glad you brought that. It's funny you brought that up.
Yep.
It's Peyton. You went to a religious school, Gardner Webb Baptist School, right?
Correct.
Is it not weird? To me, it's weird as hell. Glad we're talking about this actual subject, that a Duke is a Methodist school.
Yeah.
They're the Blue Devils.
That they would name their school after the devil.
It's a little contradicting, yeah.
Right. So that's what, it just, So we took a trip. You ever been to Duke?
No.
So we took a trip in high school down there. It was actually a trip to the museums and stuff, but we visited the campuses while we were down there. And one of the tours at Duke, we went into their main cathedral there. Right? So you think, I've been in church. You've all been in church. It's usually bright and festive. And we've got stained glass windows. And it's just beautiful in church. Not this one.
Was it dark? With gargoyles everywhere?
Yes!
Gargoyles everywhere.
Yeah. There were gargoyles.
Very weird.
It is dark and dreary. Candles in the corner. Gargoyles everywhere. And we're at a religious school that's named the Devils. Now, come on now. Don't piss on my piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
I know, but I'm just saying, and see if you agree, Peyton. It's like at some point for us just to get if this is never going to go away, and it seems like every year they're going to call upon somebody else to change a nickname. Right. Do we not just go? And of course, I said the soccer route. The soccer, now they'll have nicknames that groups call them. Manchester United, they were always, the Red Lions.
Yeah.
That was, and that's because that's what's on their crest too. But they're not called the Manchester United Red Lions. They're MUFC, Manchester United Football Club. What's the same thing here? Washington Football Team. Would we not see the Cleveland Football Team?
Yeah.
Or the Cleveland, for the Indians' sake, the Cleveland Baseball Team. I feel like that would cut down on a lot of the controversy that people have, because when you're looking at Cleveland and you want to take away the name Indian, are you going to make Kansas City change their name from the Chiefs? Are you going to ask Atlanta to change their name from the Braves, which some people have?
They're on both of them.
They probably are.
And it's funny about the Chiefs real quick. They were playing the Tomahawk Chop yesterday.
Imagine.
I was listening.
And they stopped doing that in Atlanta. And then not only that, what about Florida State? They're the Seminoles. They're the whole name of a tribe, and they're the ones that where the tomahawk chop originated. Yeah. And that was what they were doing at Seminoles games. So I don't know. How do you feel about that? Because I feel like it's becoming it's something that's popping up more and more in just sports news, and not only that, it creeps over to political news at the same time. It's just, is this politically correct, and are the right people demanding for the change? Because, you know, some people don't realize, I know that a lot of people throughout the past few weeks and months that they were changing the name, but the Washington Redskins, a lot of people were upset about the logo. It was created by the Blackfoot Indian tribe. Like, they were the ones, and it was supposed to be kind of like, it was supposed to be a look-alike to their chief. And so I just feel like the wrong people, white people, are screaming and hollering over this when really it should be more on, of course, the Native American people and those that might be upset about it. I don't believe the Blackfoot Indian are upset about it. They're the ones that essentially helped create the logo for the team.
Correct.
So I don't know. I feel like the wrong people are calling it out.
Yes.
And it is just because they want to seem PC. They want to seem politically correct. Right. And I just feel like that's going to be, until we just get to the point where there are just no nicknames. Like, I don't care. You can take away the Bulldogs name. You can take away Tar Heels. You can take away the Cleveland Browns. Hell, they could say that's offensive to people of brown color.
Right.
Well, damn, I didn't think of that. Their mascot is an elf.
Yeah.
So it's just, do you think that's, we might as well just do that in all sports, just rip it off?
Well, I mean, it's becoming more, I guess, mainstream.
Never give in.
Like you said, because the football team has done it.
Never give in.
The soccer teams obviously do it, but I mean, at some point it's probably, going to go down to that.
It probably would.
Never give in to the mob. You give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Every time.
Well, that's what they're trying to do right now. They got Washington to... But see, the problem is what caused them to change the name, because I think it was back in 2011 or 2014. Dan Snyder came out and said he will never change the name. Sponsors started to pull out. You hit the guy where it hurts the most in the pocketbook. He has nowhere else to go.
Right.
And see, I think that's what the problem is going to be for all these other teams. No matter how hard they want to hold on to the name, someone's going to be like, look, because the main person that was pulling out of it was FedEx, and that's the name of the field. It's FedEx Field. They were going to pull out millions of dollars, and he was just going to lose so much money. It's like, over a name, I guess I'll give in. I don't know. I feel like eventually, and I know you said don't give in, but I think that's just how it's going to be at some point. There are going to be too many people that are just screaming and hollering over some sort of name, and you will just never get over it. Just like you said, like the Cowboys. Cowboys used to shoot Indians. Like, that was what the premise of Cowboys versus Indians movies used to be.
So, correct. Again, are they even rivals anymore then? It's the Cowboys and nobodies? No. I think they just split
and think about it. Do you think Jerry Jones is going to sit there and listen to you say, yeah, we should change the name of my Dallas Cowboys that are worth $5 to $6 billion? I mean, shut up, boy. Let me count my money.
All right, Hunter, I'm gonna read off these names.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Ohio State quarterback since 2000.
Oh, shut up.
Troy Smith, Braxton Miller, J.T. Barrett, Craig Krenzel, Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskin, Terrell Pryor, Joe Germain, Art Schlichter, Rex Kern, Cardale Jones, Bobby Hoying, Cornelius Green, and Mike Tomczak.
12 gauge CJ Cardale Jones.
Hunter, you know what the point of all that is? Is never trust an Ohio State quarterback. You can't do it. You can't do it. All right, Hunter's the fun text tweet. I gotta look up the real quick the Cavs.
I saw this. Is it Colin Sexton and Darius Garland's name combined?
Yes,
it's great.
If those two players combine their names, what would their name be? Their last name. Garland and Sexton.
You can say it.
What's the first one?
Garland and Sexton.
Oh, Sexland.
Yeah, there you go. Larry Nance Jr., somebody said, we got any nicknames for this duo? The Cavs did, and one of the players responded, I think we all decided these two officially go by Sexland. Would you call another man that? Or group of men that?
No. Nothing in my body is going to look at two gentlemen. What up, sex land? That's kind of like when you tell somebody in like elementary school or middle school, say, "Hey, can you spell Penn Island?" And really, it's just penis land.
Yep.
The jokes, man.
Hunter's the guy that turns up the calculator upside down.
Yeah, and it says, "Look, it says boobs."
Penis land.
Did you never hear that?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yep.
I'm not familiar with it, but I'm not saying I haven't.
You just tell somebody, be like, look, you just go on the internet and type in pennisland.com and we'll see what comes up.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Good luck. I promise you, it is not a place about pins.
End it in XXX, right?
Yeah.
That's how you end your search with X.
Yeah. pennislandxxx.com.
Do that. So
.net, I think it's .gov. It's a government ran site.
So Hunter, this other competing, let's say, outfit. They I know I went to college with one of the head announcers in the company, and they've got this sports show, and it's basically him, so it'd be like me.
Yeah.
He's pretty well. Put it this way, he's good with the sports. I have no complaints about him. Peyton's. You got a sister?
No.
Your sister. And another guy and JP having a sports show. 3 of the 4 people on the sports show have never actually played anything obviously the girl hadn't played football, but none of the other 2 guys have ever. And so I don't listen to him. I follow him on Twitter, so he tweets all their questions and stuff. But here's their records.
On like pick'ems?
Just straight up picking football games. The guy that knows football is 49-40. The other 3 guys are all 44-45. That's never played, and the girl is 43-46. And they're like, he's like, "What do you think about the poll?" And I just want to respond, how about you grabbing some people who've played football to pick football games? Like,
I don't think
it's one thing having one person on there, but it's the whole panel, and the name of it's a sports company, and like, I don't get it. Some of this paid, you did some of this stuff. Working on, sidelines. Tell a little bit about exactly what you did, tweeting for Gardner Webb and everything.
Yeah, so it was for like the football team, like my last semester at Gardner Webb, I would I'd go down on the field and I would like take pictures of the players during warm-ups and then during the game, and I would kind of just scour the sidelines, if you would, just to be the social media guy or whatnot. But that was kind of based off what I did here. Because like here, I would do that too. You would let me tweet at baseball games.
You were almost like a social media coordinator.
So yeah, pretty much, yeah. But
with that said, did you talk to or meet any other from other schools doing the kind of the same type of stuff, or not, or any of that at all? Or did you just kind of keep to the Gardner Webb folks?
I think I talked to the Wofford photographer guy, whatever his label was, but other than that, I would keep to myself.
Okay. I was just wondering about from that perspective, if you've run into and this is the thing in sports too, Hunter, where they're trying to in what I said about the 4 of the 5 people on that sports show have not even played any sports. What sideline reporters, like there used to be Tony Saragusa, like people that played the game, and you've got cheerleaders on the sideline for a reason.
Right.
Well, as a sideline reporter or coordinator or whatever, and I'm not saying you have to be a guy to be able to do that job, but as far as the sideline reporters, Hunter, and were you offered ever any jobs or anything as a sideline reporter or anything like that?
No.
So what's hard, and I think it aggravates me, is we have all these broadcasts, whether it's radio, internet, whatever, video, whatever, TV, and we have all these sideline reporters, and most of them are women. It's not that I'm against women on that. What I'm against is that shouldn't you, if you want people to be more involved, have people who've played? So, for example, in college, how many quarterbacks don't even ever play, but know the game? Right. That's where your coaches could. Belichick played lacrosse in college. He didn't play football. He was a lacrosse player.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you can't do that, but what I'm saying is that when you go down to these to the reporters or whoever on the sidelines, you can't tell me that I wouldn't be getting a different report from Saragusa as I do from some beautiful lady. And she's beautiful, fine. They ask different. I'm just saying they ask different questions. Saragusa is going to be like, well, this fat guy right here was holding on this play, and that's what caused this guy. And they're gonna ask, how did you feel scoring that touchdown? Well, John's over here on the sideline causing a ruckus. And it's aggravating to me, like, and it's only in football. Like, they don't really do that. I mean, in tennis, like, if you watch a tennis match on TV, they don't ask anybody who's never played tennis.
Yeah.
Like, they got McEnroe on there and everybody else.
Yep.
It's just, it's a weird thing to me to wear Hunter. And I guess with high school, like, when we go down to high school stuff, when we're talking about the concussion rules, it's almost like everybody wants to be a part of American football. That we have to let everybody in, and it was to me before this stuff with the concussion stuff, it was almost like a sport of, it's almost like boxing to me. We're like, you've got to be a little off, or a little tough, a little something else, and it isn't for everybody. And it's just weird to me that we try to make it for everybody, and we jump through hoops for, like in baseball, we've got pitch counts, but the football guy doesn't.
Right.
And we don't have the concussion. So it's
first thing I thought of when you told me those records was like, I remember a weekend I went 23-6 on college football picks, and you got like, come on now. I missed 6 games. Right. If I was betting money, I would have came out a whole lot on top.
And you watch college way more than I would.
But I'm just thinking about this, like, well, if that's just pro picks, I'm like, y'all really just are at the 500
picking? Yeah,
they have a losing record picking. Right. What are you talking about? Like, if you pick any game in the AFC South against the Jags, you already are going 6-0. I don't understand. Are you just throwing darts, saying, well, this week I think might be them? I don't know. Hey, cool for them. I love when people do picks. And I look more into spreads and stuff when we do this kind of stuff. Anyways, I like to be able to hit on those. But if it's just straight pick 'em. I had a week where I was like 23-6.
Yeah, picking winners. Yeah,
picking winners
shouldn't be that bad.
Is not that bad.
It's just have a losing record.
No, it's just when you go to spreads, it's a different story.
You're 100% right.
Because just because you win, if you didn't win by a certain margin, I lost money.
Right.
I lost money. Say you were a 6.5 point favorite, but you won by 3. Shit. Unless I bet on the other team to cover that 6.5, I've lost.
Yeah, I just think we could do a better job. It's more entertaining to me than informative to not having someone. To me, again, when I'm on the sideline reporting back to Brent or something during a high school football game, I honestly feel like I'm giving some type of inside information. And I sit there and think about it. Well, if we ask a cheerleader over here to do the same thing, like, I know what it's like to have been hit before. I know what it's like to have run this play or made this. I'm looking at the safety not getting over on a play. And I've been there and done that, and me commenting on it, and I'm not just saying that it's because of the so overwhelming number of people who've played college football in their careers had no opportunity to be a sideline reporter, and a ton of them are probably really smart and know the game, especially the quarterbacks. Those quarterbacks don't get to play. Those guys know You have to know every damn thing.
It's a double-edged sword, though, because I know I was mad whenever Tony Romo retires, and the next day he's got a multi-million-dollar offer to go into the booth. And the same thing now with Drew Brees, drop of a hat. And it's like, you have guys like me and Peyton, and obviously you that went to school for that kind of job, and we just don't even get. I would do it for even a half of it, but not even a half a quarter.
Romo's job and Brees' job will not be for play-by-play.
No. They'll just be for the inside.
Right. So that's the difference. And I get what you're saying, but again, the Romos and the Brees, they're not there for the play-by-play. The broadcaster guys are the play-by-play guys now.
Well, I realize that. I know what their job is, but at the same time,
can you name another?
It's just one of those things where it's like, he quit making millions of dollars already, and he's just getting ready to go make even more millions of dollars. Where it's like with all of us.
Can you think of a color commentator in any sport that didn't play almost anymore?
That didn't play?
Right. Yeah, off the top of my head.
Al Michaels?
But he's not a color commentator. He's the play-by-play.
Oh, that's right. No, you can't. You can't. Okay, I can't think of a color commentator that didn't play.
I couldn't be mad
because even Greg Olson said they said when you're done, you can come to the booth.
The color commentator spot is for somebody that the way we have to work it here where we're at. Most of the time, our color commentator spot has to be able to keep a book and stats.
He has to multitask.
That's more important than those guys. Don't have to do that. They're giving everything.
Oh yeah,
that's all they're there for is to say, hey, one
of the things that I struggle to watch with too, because see, it's different in politics. I know you really liked studying the politics aspect of media. It's different in politics because they can take random people that have studied politics and the way it goes and have talked about it and put it on television for a show.
Right.
What I struggle with at the same time is, I love watching Skip and Shannon, but at the same time, Skip didn't play at a high level, but Shannon did. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing when you watch all of these other sports shows. It went from being guys that maybe didn't play but really studied the game and they've devoted their life to really just covering this game to now it's just, oh, well, if you're an ex-athlete talking about retirement, we got a spot for you. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid that went to school and this was your dream. We got a guy here that stopped playing. You might know quite a bit. Because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say it for me, like, I might have not played football, but I've watched enough and I've studied enough, just sports in general, to be able to keep a conversation and have an educated opinion about what I'm watching. But but in this business, it seems the way that it has shifted everything. If you didn't do it or didn't play it, then you're going to have a hard time getting a job with any of it. I get it. Look, it's a draw to be able to turn on and say, look, they got Deion Sanders on here talking about this. Or they've got, let's talk about the Fox guys, Jimmy Johnson, and they got Bradshaw and Howie. It's really good. But I think that's seriously why Barstool has grown so much that they have in media. It's because, sure, they do have moments where guys that played the sport come on and talk, but other than that, it's us. Yeah. It's the average Joe. It's the barbershop talk that everybody loves to have, and I think that what major media has really missed out on is that. And I'm not just like sitting here trying to, say I need a job and take this guy's. Look, I get it, but you're going from this guy was already making millions upon multi-millions of dollars to just giving him another couple million instead of helping out somebody that did go to school and studied this and really has put in the time to make that money.
I think what Hunter's point of it is more, I think, I don't even try to put words in your mouth, but you're in the same ballpark as I am on what I mean by the sideline reporters should be former college football players or former NFL players, as well as, what jobs are there for people that do go to broadcasting school now?
Right. There's none. They're really for sports.
Right.
For sports, it's not because I'm going to sit here and I'll say, I mean, what we do right here is not really hard. It's, we just have to be you really got to be educated in what you're talking about so you're not up here sounding like a buffoon. And you just got to be able to be an entertainer at the same time. Mm-hmm. But what I see when they come from off the field to the booths, it doesn't always work. Right. I mean, that was what a lot of people said about Greg Olsen when he was, not Greg Olsen, Jason Witten when he was in the booth. Mm. It doesn't always translate that, but the fact that he had played at one point, NBC or Fox, whoever it was that offered him that multi-million-dollar contract, like, hey, you played, you're Jason Witten, you were a Dallas Cowboy, we're going to put you in the booth. I think sometimes I have a problem with that with Troy. Troy sometimes, to me, with Troy Aikman, it's like you were just the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Really? You know some things, but at the same time, we go to school and we practice this. I know he's got 3 Super Bowls. Listen, I get it. I'm just saying from an I'm just saying from an entertainment aspect.
Right. He's way more serious than Romo.
Yeah.
Romo loves it. He has
fun with it. But you have guys like obviously us 3 that we went to school for it, but we will always be overlooked for a guy that they hear is about to retire.
Or a girl.
Yeah. When I was in broadcasting school, I had somebody tell me legitimately, and this is not sexist, I'm just saying, I was told this by a broadcast professional. If you are blonde and a female, you have a 15 to 25% higher chance of getting on television than any of us.
I mean, I could sit here, played 3 sports, I count golf, so 4. Play 4 sports. I've broadcast for 20-something years. Mm-hmm. All these sports. We've had all the pros on here. I've broadcast high school. I could do all of that, take all this. My resume would be way better than 99% of the sideline reporters on all of these things, and they would laugh at me once they saw me. Like, no,
can't do it.
You're not 5'10" in heels. I can't be 5'10" in heels,
right? And I'm not. And listen, and I'm not going to sit here and say, and I'm not going to sit here and say some of the women don't know what they're talking about. I will never say they don't because I know women enjoy sports too. But I'm saying how the business side of it is ran.
Why don't they just go broadcast women's sports? The WNBA's they came out the other day and said that they're back on this about how they're just as good as the men's and they need to be paid the same. And they're not getting the if the men's game brings in $10 million, we can pay people with that money. If the women's game brings in $500,000, we can't pay you $10 million.
With them.
Yeah,
That's it's the same. It's the same
what'd you
thing
major in,
that
paid? Exactly.
What'd you say?
What was your major in school?
Oh, broadcast journalism.
Okay, so that's okay. So see, one of the things that opened my eyes a lot, I guess, to the world more than anything, and people don't get it at all. And maybe you guys talked about it, maybe you didn't. Hopefully you did, being that you went to Gardner Webb and being able to see it, is bias in media.
Yeah.
That may be my biggest, I don't know, pet peeve, or I'm
Please tell me they taught you about who owns what media company.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing is that people don't understand. Like, they'll say, I got 70 channels. There's only 5 people that own all 70 channels, or 6. And the thing about that is that, again, Peyton, and people were like, well, I saw this on the news, or I believe this. And what's so hard about today is, and like I said, I didn't realize or didn't know it until one person put it this way. We were talking about it's kind of 9/11. It's kind of like in that case. But a guy said to me, he was like, he's like, what's the purpose of the news organization? And I was like, they're supposed to tell the truth and let Americans know. The freedom of the press is to let Americans know what the government's doing. That's kind of the main point. And he was like, no, it's to make money. And I never really thought about it that until I was 22. And a lot of people don't think about that. They sit there and watch the news and are like, they're trying to tell me info. They're trying to help me out. No. What is TV called? TV programming. I'm sure you've talked about that in school, where it's programming. The freaking CIA admitted to all this. You can basically, the Batman Riddler movie. Well, people thought that's crazy. Like, they're beaming into your head, and that's almost precisely what they're doing
that's
now.
what it is.
They're almost
it's showing
doing
you what
now.
they want to show you.
Right. Yeah. So they're programming exactly what they want to do, and they're showing you what they want to show you. And when you have, and so it really started spilling into sports a few years ago, kind of like that too. And one thing I really noticed, and it was with the Cowboys, was when they lost, they were the first team on there, and they showed Romo's picks first thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when they won at 13-3, they're like the 10th thing. And I'm just sitting there like, why is it like that? And then when you watch the thing with Cam, like, person after person after person comes on my screen and tells me he's an MVP, he's good, it's not him, they're blaming Belichick. Okay.
He got 6 Super Bowl rings.
Again,
okay. All of a sudden he can't coach.
If you want to put it on Tom, that's fine. But you can't say he can't coach, but then he has a terrible record without Tom Brady. He really does. So again, where do you go with that? But the bias thing aggravates me so much is that, and you'll hear someone say, "Well, you must watch Fox News." Well, I watch them all.
Right.
Because if you don't watch, I'm like, well, if you don't watch Fox,
you're missing it.
And you're hearing if you watch 5 different news channels tell you
the same thing.
And the thing is, so like basically, I don't know if you guys ever did this exercise. We did an exercise. You ever did copywriting or headline writing?
Mm-hmm. Copyright. Okay. I had a copywriting class.
So
you had to hook them.
One of the best teachers I had was our headline writing class, and the reason was because he would give you a story, and everybody would write a headline,
and they're all different.
And then we would go around the room, and you'd hear different shit. And you're like, did you read the same story I did?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the media bias that people don't get, is that you'll see a story, and it could be, and again, for an example, Trump cures cancer. One story will be like, oh God, he cured cancer, we're going to be safe. The other one will be like, why didn't they do it sooner?
Right.
Or why did he only cure one type of cancer? Or why didn't they do this? And you're just like,
Trump cures cancer, healthcare loses billions.
Right. It's all it can all be manipulated in a certain way, and that's one thing that if you're not that I'm concerned with our country and our people today is the message that you're getting is that if you don't check it against something else, how would you ever know? Like, if I hear something interesting and I think that might be true, I'm gonna go read a different couple of things, even if it's like, I like watching old documentaries or documentaries on old stuff, and so. Even if it's on something like, say, ancient Egypt or something, I'll look at a different idea or source, see if anyone else confirms or said, yeah, I think so. people do hide shit all the time. People do keep things or do their own opinions.
Yeah.
And the media bias thing is one of my pet peeves, biggest hills.
It's the problem with the media bias is the fact that of how little people really recognize it, and
exactly
how little.
That's what scares me is the people that don't
no, they don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You don't look for it.
A buddy of mine the other day, or no, this was about a year ago. He had posted on his Snapchat. He was like, I don't think you. He's like, look into it, guys. I don't think you guys realize who owns what media companies. I'm like, thank you, because I had a whole book that taught me about that. Like we had just like a clip book, or not a clip book, but like the 3-ring binder, and we had to learn it. It was like Disney owns such and such. Not a lot of people realize Disney owns ESPN. They don't just own ESPN; they own this as well. General Electric, which makes a lot of our high end like electrical stuff, whether it's appliances and everything. Oh, guess what? They own media outlets too. And like nobody knows that. You could watch, and we'll just use these news as an example. CNN, MSNBC, and somebody else. And I'm not going to guarantee that what I'm telling you is correct because I don't have it in front of me. Let's just say they're all owned by General Electric. General Electric's paying their bills. Yeah. He's paying their employees. Guess what? You're going to push out what General Electric wants you to push out.
Right.
Whereas, let's say Fox News is owned by Disney. I know they're not, but I'm just using this as an example. Disney wants Fox News to push out what Disney wants them to push out. And that's where you have the divide that nobody truly knows about, where it's like, well, I saw this on CNN. Well, I saw this on Fox News. Right. You're wrong. No, you're wrong.
So here's how they confirm it is that, say, ABC would do a report, and then ABC reported. And then so here's your 6 companies: Comcast, News Corp, Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, and CBS. News Corp owns Fox, Wall Street Journal, and New York Post. That's the only right-leaning media there is, and you can still argue about some of that. The rest of them, Comcast owns NBC, Universal, and Focus. Disney owns ABC, ESPN, and Pixar. So any type of animated movie is coming straight from Disney. Viacom owns MTV, Nickelodeon, and Paramount. Time Warner owns CNN, HBO, and Time. CBS owns CBS, Showtime, and Smithsonian. So you could get the same story on 15 different channels, and then you turn over to Fox, and they're saying something else, and you're like, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
And it's a different perspective. And it's almost like when people argue, you always have to listen to both perspectives. Everyone has a different perspective.
I think I was wrong with General Electric. I was probably thinking of Warner Brothers, WB, or...
General Electric used to own one of these. So
I know they did. Maybe it was... Because let me say, I graduated broadcasting school, 2015? Something could have changed.
Well, stuff moves around. But there's these major 6.
Because that was the one that stood out to me where I was like, are you really? What? They do appliances. They do all sorts of stuff, but they just make so much money.
The Disney stuff is weird because if you trace any of the stuff back to Walt Disney and what he was doing and things they were doing, is they were involved in some different weird stuff. He was best friends. That's the best way I can put it from the stuff let's say he wasn't best friends. He was good friends. You know who Werner von Braun is? He's the creator of the Saturn moon rocket. So all the rockets that go to the moons, to the space, he created it. Well, he was a Nazi scientist. He was captured. He was the one that created all the stuff for the Nazis. We captured him, brought him over here, gave him pardons, and he was the lead guy in NASA. So the lead guy in NASA was a Nazi for years. And we all know this. We all know it's all documented. Everybody knows who he is. And he was really best friends with Walt Disney. Well, where's Disney getting his information from on the space oddity and things like this, and getting his info from? The Gene Roddenberry, who invented Star Trek, was in meetings with the space program people. So if you're Gene Roddenberry and you sit in meetings and go over all this stuff, and then you come up with Star Trek, how do you go from a gas powered rocket to Star Trek? And that guy was in those meetings. So what I'm getting at with Disney is that there's a rabbit holes in each one of these. I just went down one with Disney on who you can be friends with, who you're partners with. Have you ever been to Disney World in Florida? Either one of you?
Yeah. But I was like 10.
You been to Epcot?
No, we did not go to Epcot.
I've been, yeah.
Okay, so Epcot, there's a place down there in Disney World. It's called Tomorrowland. Okay, Epcot and Tomorrowland were originally built to house the workers of Disney World. It was supposed to be a self-sustaining colony, basically, and all that. And they were supposed to update it they were trying to stay ahead in technology, and it just kind of fell through. But anyway, that's a fun, weird story about if you've ever been to those and you're looking at it like it was supposed to be like apartments, and like none of this is they were supposed to live in their own theme park, basically. It's kind of like that was kind of weird. But Time Warner and CBS, like I said, ESPN is sitting here again with on Disney. So when you see them doing certain stories or about certain things, you can follow the money up to the top on that. And so it's what you said, Hunter. You hit the nail on the head with. You're concerned with how many other people realize what they're seeing or what they're watching.
It comes down to, I find it, at least in me and Peyton's generation, and I know this from whether it was a few family members, they'll remain nameless, same with friends and family. I'm just going to say it this way. What they see on social media, they believe. Right. What they see on the news, they believe. And it's one of those things where it's like, I get it. That's where you're going to get your information, especially social media. That's why it was created. It's the fastest way to get information out, it seems like now.
What's weird?
But where did it come from? You got to double check your sources. Okay, you got to see if it's, first of all, true. I mean, people hate hearing it, but when Trump was screaming fake news, we've seen multiple accounts of that. It's just, I know
that's the headline thing.
But I know many people in our generation where maybe a celebrity backs it and they think it's right, and they're like, Kim Kardashian is behind it. It has to be right. It has to be true.
Right?
Or maybe they've seen it once from a media source. Let's just call it BuzzFeed, and they're like, "Oh, dude, it has to be true, man. I mean, this is a credible news source. Is it though? Like, you gotta peel back the layers a little bit. You got to do a little bit of work, and it just doesn't. I see it, especially in mine and Peyton's generation and younger. They don't want to peel back and try and find information. It's just whatever's put in front of them. That's what they're going to roll with, and it hurts if they don't know that. Hey, you might be getting fed something due to somebody's agenda, because people don't realize when I was in broadcasting school, we were talking about, WBTV, WCCB, and all the ones down here in Charlotte. And right. WBTV, they had a line, it was, if it bleeds, it leads. All right? But do you know why? It's because that's what people would tune into and find out. They want to know what's happening, and that was the agenda they were pushing at first. And I know they used, was it WBTV? We're on your side. Well, down there, if it bleeds, it leads, okay?
Yep.
If it grasps your attention, that's what we're going to roll with. And people don't realize, like, they do it with YouTube. It's clickbait. Like, it might not be true, but guess what? You've tuned into it, and it's got you now. So when you, obviously, like we have, when you go to school and you learn about this stuff, it kind of ruins it. It ruins it, whether it's television, movies, and especially watching news, because you're like, well, I don't know where that came from. I try to tell my father that all the time. Dad, if you're listening, I love you. But not everything that you see in a Facebook post is legit.
Right.
You got to double check where you get the sources from.
Yeah.
Yeah, my TV production teacher told us, and he's 100% right, that you'll never watch TV or movies again after this class.
He said you'll never watch it the same.
Because I watching
watch B-roll all the time.
Right, so watching our show, like if you're watching right now, folks, you're watching on YouTube. If I'm watching this, I'll be looking at all those graphics, seeing if they're all even, if they're all equal, if they're all the right color, right size. Like that's what I'll look at. And then same thing in movies and stuff. I'm like, why would they do that, or why would they do that? It is.
You watch any movie and you see a Pepsi can show up. Say, damn, they paid a lot of money to have that Pepsi can there.
I think that one thing I want to touch on with Peyton. You're with your major and what you're into. One of the things that I guess the most, as far as our society and the stuff that's going on, is the attack on, and it just blows my mind how people don't understand why it is so important. The attack on freedom of speech.
Right.
It is just, the gun thing is one thing, defending yourself and having arguments about people with that. And, some people don't have any sense of that. But the freedom of speech thing, to me, that shouldn't be something that should be even argued at all. And the fact if you look at any country, anything where kings, tyrants, or whatever, the people who speak out and they killed them or shut them down, it's the worst places to live and the worst countries to live in. The same thing. So, China just put in a lady in jail for I don't know how long for reporting on the original
the coronavirus.
The original coronavirus.
Yeah.
And the freedom of speech,
which you would think should be public knowledge,
right? And we talked about this before, that I believe freedom of speech is the most important right, because and then again, and what that means is, and everybody's like, well, what about hate speech? I don't think there's a such thing as hate speech. I don't, because you have to define it. Whoever's offended by it has to define hate speech. I can say I hate you, I guess, or I want to kill you. I guess, you know, you go for that. But either way, like the generation, you know, a generation before me, I know, grew up on sticks and stones may break my bones, and words will never hurt me.
Right.
A lot of people nowadays is not that at all.
Sticks and stones hurt me, and so do words.
Words. What's funny is when I like reading the headlines, we talk about headlines where it says, so let's say if, again, we'll use the president as an example. Let's say the president doesn't like something. They use the word, and he says, you know what? I don't like green pizza. Whatever. It'll be president attacks green pizza. The word attack, when people say of something out loud, to me, speech is not an attack. It's thought. It's even the bad speech. Because guess what? If I let you talk and you say something stupid, you prove yourself to be stupid, or you prove yourself to be bad. You have to let the bad ideas get out as well as the good ideas. And to me, if you don't see that and can't see why that's important, and people don't get, Hunter, if I don't like your speech or whatever, and I want you banned or shut down or whatever, what happens when someone else is in charge besides you? Mm-hmm. You're not always in charge.
Yeah.
And so the folks will be like, well, let's shut the president down. What if the president said, well, shut you down? Then what? If the people in charge are shutting your speech down and shutting your ideas and thoughts, it's just that right there, in what we do in the media and the radio and TV and everything, to me, as powerful as we are or can be with the thoughts and you know who owns what, the fact is you've got to let people speak out. And so when they say dangerous speech, or we don't want you talking because we don't. I think one of the things that aggravates me, say, Hunter, you have 1 million followers. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, well, you just told 1 million people that. I don't mean they believe it.
Right.
I don't mean they have to believe it, or they
don't have
enough
to.
Believe it.
The problem is most of the time they do.
And some do, but who cares? My point is, guess what? Everybody, we all have different opinions and different ways of living life. The fact that to take someone's speech away
the only thing I have to say is just going forward is anybody that's listening to media, you need to watch out for. I'm serious when I say this. It's media manipulation, and they will just feed you, like we said earlier. Mm-hmm. It's programming. They'll feed you whatever they want you to think, mm-hmm. and that is a form of manipulation. And nobody sees past it, and that's because. And I'm not sitting here saying they're not educated, saying that they're just not smart. It's just nobody's brought that to their attention, that they don't even know that's what's happening. Right. That there is somebody behind the scenes, that it's not like you said, oh, the news is supposed to inform the people. It's like, no, what's going to make us money? What's going to make you money is me paying you to say this. I mean, it's the same thing in advertising when you see big YouTube people doing paid sponsorships. It's like, well, they're going to sit here and tell you that this game or whatever is fun because they just got paid $250,000 to tell you that.
I just got a notice from Facebook today, by the way.
Yeah, did you?
About, I posted Milton's Swap Shop this morning, and it's sponsored by West End Sales.
Yeah.
And I had that written in the thing. This is the first time it's ever done this. I got a notification saying I now have to not pay, but I have to click on like 3 different things to say that this is a paid post. So I took the word sponsored by out of the post and posted it, and it was fine. So they're even and that's what sucks for, they talk about these media, the big media or whatever, these the Twitters and the Facebooks. And I understand the argument. You can't go into Walmart and break the rules, no less you leave or whatever.
Right.
But again, if you're they have to decide whether they're platformers or publishers, I believe. Mm-hmm. And if you're a publisher, you can editorialize and you can also be sued. Platforms, they can't be sued. It's like it'd be like AT&T while you're talking to Peyton on the phone, breaking into your phone and be like, I don't like what he just said. I'm going to cut Peyton off. Sorry, you can't talk to him for 3 days. Mm-hmm. What? You're 100% right on that, Hunter. Is the manipulation and and the putting people. I just the speech, that the Twitters, the Facebooks, to shut you down. Listen,
right.
It's one thing to I don't know. I guess I don't know if I want to use it's not attack, but I don't know. I'm just trying to there's people need to toughen up.
Yeah,
especially on the.
If you've not watched, I'll say this: if you've not watched the Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix, you need to go watch it.
Yeah,
because I promise you, Kevin, you'll love it. Mm-hmm. You'll love it. But if you have not, this is just for everybody because this is what were talking about, and of course, not sponsored by Netflix. No sponsor. I'm just saying, if you've not seen the Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix, it will open your eyes. 100%. It will open your eyes. And this has come from obviously somebody like the rest of us that went to school and learned media anyways. They just kind of highlight some things that you were taught already, or at least we were taught already. And it's like, I'm glad this is available to the general public because it's going to educate them a little bit and how they need to look towards, not just us feeding them what we need to through the media, but social media at the same time.
Right.
So the Social Dilemma at Netflix definitely should be something to watch. And ladies and gentlemen, I know we're pushing time here, and you guys are probably thinking, oh, we were tuning in for sports. Well, I hate to tell you, nothing really changed in the last 24 hours how we did this, but this is a podcast. We can talk about really whatever we want, but at the same time, I think it's our job as people who have learned this stuff from our schooling to educate those who do not know the ins and outs of how this business works and think, oh, I'll just turn on the radio and television and it's going to be there.
Yep.
They don't know the ins and outs and what, like you said, when he asked you, what do you think news is for? Well, that's what we just did is we educated somebody. We gave them a little bit of the insights. Of course, there's a whole lot more insights and nuances, but we'll let you dive down that rabbit hole.
All right, Peyton. See that?
Yes.
All right. KFC, the logo, right?
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
At it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a tweet. My wife just confessed that her entire childhood, she thought that Colonel Sanders' bow tie was his whole body. And now I can't stop looking at Colonel Sanders' little bitty body. He's a stick figure on a head.
Yeah.
So, you think it's the stick figure or you think it's the throwback? I mean, that's his bow tie. I'm asking you, Peyton.
I mean,
I always thought.
Well, I've always looked at it as the bow tie. Yeah,
it's the bow tie. It's definitely.
I've always looked at it as the bow tie. I've never thought, oh wow, look at that big-headed stick man.
Oh God, yeah, that was a good one. Let's see.
Any fun news and notes?
That's what I was trying. There's almost nothing going through.
No, it's a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
As of right now, there's nothing crazy.
I'm gonna click on some things. Any fun tweets or anything coming through for you guys? And we like to finish the show with something fun and entertaining.
Here we go. Freezing cold takes.
Okay.
From Freezing Cold Takes Twitter, they took a screenshot from Colin Coward on January 15th of 2019. He said, Adam Gase, Greg Williams, and Sam Darnold. Anyone know where I can pre-order my 2020 AFC Championship tickets at MetLife Stadium? Well, didn't that just shoot right down the drain?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, Peyton, before we go, who's your favorite tennis player?
Favorite tennis player?
Mm-hmm.
It was Djokovic for a hot minute.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of leaning away from him and going on to like Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer and all the
backing up
older gentlemen.
Yeah. What do you think about what's weird to me about tennis is it used to be like it's almost like who's the newest like stud? Like Serena's in her 30s.
Yeah.
All the great guys are in their 30s. Like who's in their 20s in men or women's? It's just like, damn, that's the next person. It's almost, I can't think of anybody. I'm not that big on tennis, but tennis moved from the Sampras, Agassi, Michael Chang era. They went from McEnroe and them, and then they moved on to Federer. To me, is Pete Sampras made over.
Yeah.
I don't know what other people think about that or whatever, but he just reminds me. Jokic actually does kind of too, or Pete, but I loved Agassi. I like the athletic guys that can move around, return anything, and the overpowering. The men's game, and people that don't understand, men's tennis is completely different from women's tennis.
Right.
It's baseline and pound for a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
And women's is a lot more movement.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm correct on this. So I've never been a good tennis player at all. My sister was a decent tennis player, and I used to practice with her just to have her somebody to hit to, and she just destroyed me.
Yeah.
I went up to App, and one of the, you've got classes. One of my PE classes was tennis. I'm like, I'm going to figure this shit out. It's like the second or third day, I got beat by a 300-pound girl.
Yep.
She just knew what she was doing.
Yeah. She played tennis in high school.
Yeah.
She wasn't 300 pounds in high school, but she was in college, by God. I mean, this girl was big, and she waxed me. Like, it wasn't, she knew how to hit the ball. Yeah. I didn't. I can never, for some reason, figure out how to hit it the right way, and it was just frustrating with me. But what I was going to get at as far as the ground and pound, also in my neighborhood was a guy about 6'4", and that's the way he played.
Yeah.
And I don't know what speed you've had to hit before, but he was smoking them by me just trying to make contact. I couldn't even make contact on him. He was hitting them so hard. So as far as that goes, like, how's your game, and talk about how hard it is to actually just return a serve in tennis.
It's difficult because it depends on, like, I mean, if your opponent spins the serve, like puts spin on the ball, or if they just like slam it at you or hit it closer to the baseline or the net or whatever. But it's difficult.
Right.
You just gotta like account for what and how they're doing things.
I know in pros and college and stuff they got better scouting, but in high school, like, is the first set over before you've adjusted sometimes?
Yeah.
To how they're serving you or hitting the ball to you?
Yeah.
I always want you to kind of wondering about that. How well were you? Are you good?
I was good in high school. In high school, my doubles partner and I actually made it to the state championship.
Okay.
And we beat whoever the heck we played the first time, and then we went on to lose in the second round to the team that won doubles and singles. But I quit after high school because college is completely different.
Right. People don't. I get in every sport it is. I had a couple of friends that just we didn't really have a tennis team. There was none at Bessemer. There was one at Cherryville, and I had a couple of guys that just quit the golf program. And just like, I'm going to go play tennis, and they ended up doing pretty good. But it was just kind of weird. I was wondering how you thought about that, or did you play any? Was there club tennis or anything like that at Gardner Webb or anything, or intramural?
There's intramural.
Was there intramural tennis?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you ever think about trying or at all?
I did. Freshman year, I moved in. I was like, all right, I might try out and walk on and do all this. But then I would watch one or two practices, and there would be like 3 Americans, and everybody else would be from wherever they were from.
Wow, at Gardner Webb?
Yeah, and it was just like the foreigners were on like a totally different level than the Americans were.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Are they doing like soccer kids and going to like tennis schools, growing up stuff too? Is that how that's working?
There was a few of those, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because people don't even understand, and I didn't. Is there's different. You don't just grab the racket.
Yeah.
You have to hold it in different positions.
Yeah.
Different shots, and all that stuff was just mind blowing to me. Like, so in golf, I have the same grip. Across baseball, you have the same grip, and to have different grips for different things in tennis was a weird one to me. I don't know. All right, Hunter, anything else before we get out of here?
I believe that's all. We did good jobs today. We talked a little sports, and we educated the people. That's all that matters.
Peyton, give me, I know you're not big in sports. Do you have any favorite sports movies?
Sports movies?
Yeah. Hunter here's missed a lot of them. I'm trying to find a list of stuff to put together for him to watch.
Well, Remember the Titans was a good one.
Yeah, he hadn't seen it.
Then the one
what?
with,
I thought you said you hadn't seen that one.
Excuse me.
You did see that one?
Yes.
Well, good for you.
The one with The Blind Side. That was a good one.
It was a very good one.
You know, I have not seen it.
Everyone's seen it.
You have not seen The Blind Side.
Everyone except Kevin.
Yeah, I've not seen The Blind Side. I'm not really, I don't know. I'll keep my thoughts to myself on that one.
It's a decent.
The new one that Disney Plus did on Clemson, that was a really good one.
Safety or whatever.
Yeah,
it's called.
that was pretty good.
Is that about Landon Sanders?
Huh?
Safety at Clemson?
Yeah.
He's from Crest.
I don't know who it's about.
The one that looks like Palomalu.
No.
The big long hair. He's like 6'4", though. Landon.
No, I haven't seen that, though.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up today. We got a big meeting today to go to and talk about here in a little bit. I want to thank Peyton for joining us today. Good seeing him again.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Oh, Peyton, I do want to show you one more thing before we go. Here is my proposal for the Washington Redskins' new logo and nickname.
This like a warthog, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, they call the Hogs.
You keep the same name. So the Redskins lineman's nickname forever has been the Hogs.
Right.
So their fans will dress up with hog noses and they'll wear dresses. Okay. People like Hunter will wear a hog nose and a dress.
And a headdress.
And a dress, a sundress. It's not a headdress.
Some would wear headdresses.
But anyway, Arkansas Razorbacks are red and have the warthog.
Right.
So the Redskins could keep the name, keep the colors, keep everything, and the only thing they have to do is put feathers on a warthog. Would that not solve all the problems?
Yeah, I mean, it might.
What argument would they have again on this one?
I don't think they would have much of an argument.
Is this the I guess the PETA would get on this one, Hunter?
Hell, I don't know. Everybody they just want to bitch about
everybody's
something
offended
these days.
by everything, and they are, and it's a weird thing to have to deal with. All right, guys, we'll see you next. We'll be a Saturday. Mm-hmm. Hunter and myself will be on Saturday's show, Live Sports Talk, 8 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. with Terry and Tom. We'll be talking national championship Saturday because Clemson and everybody plays Friday, right?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, we'll have bad picks some more Saturday on KTCBroadcasting.com.